Evening.
71 episodes of The Gray Area. Shout out everyone here that's been here for a while.
That's crazy. 71.
Yes. When did we start? What month was it?
We started in September.
Okay, there you go. We're going to circle back to that pretty soon. That'll be my birthday month, and then the show will probably be at over 100 episodes. But
Crazy.
pretty wild to think about. And we got some of the regulars in chat. We got Trans Tim Kennedy, of course, and
We've come a long way, guys.
some others.
We have come a long way. Also, I've been watching the New American Journal. It's been doing really well, bro.
Yeah, no, the morning show has been great. Really, primarily because of like Anthony Graffio. He has this ability to get these guests, and we need to get them on Gray Area. Like Anthony Aguilar, we need to get him on as well. Specifically, also Brian McGinnis. You remember the guy that had his arm broken?
Yeah.
In that like a Senate protest.
Anthony tapped in.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like he's tapped in. He's locked in. We've had so many of these people on. I really want to bring him to Gray Area. But it is amazing because we're also going to be doing Tuesdays where it's Gray Area in the morning. And that's going to be the show that you guys saw us do on the InfoWars Network.
That was so fun when we were on InfoWars.
It was. And that'll be, we do the hour news blitz, then we do deep dive, then we take calls. And that'll be traditional format. And the thing that's really fun about the morning show is, and this is what people have been really reporting to me online, that they want back. They want to call back into the show.
Cool.
So that's,
we got all that stuff back on.
Dude, I'm really looking forward to that. And like, it's actually, now I was like bitching and complaining about StreamYard, but I sat in here over the weekend. I got a little more familiar with it. It's actually a pretty good platform.
It is.
I know we run off EV Mux, but at least for now, like, that's what we've been streaming off of. The only thing that sucks, did you know you can't upload videos that are over 200 megabit?
Yes.
Which is like lame as
Unless
hell.
you get like the ultra premium version, which is way too expensive and makes no sense.
Yeah, the Amex Black Card of streaming platform services. But what do you have prepared for the deep dive today before we get into it?
Deep dive tonight, guys, is about the Hantavirus. You know, I've been seeing, I've been hearing, I've been seeing people.
I barely know her.
People are just freaking out. So I was like, let me get back to the bottom of it. People are making jokes. And then I kind of went down the rabbit hole and just tried to, sorry, let me gather my thoughts here. I tried to understand,
Right.
you know, some of the other viruses. Now, I didn't really go deep into COVID because that's a whole deep dive in itself. We're going to cover a little bit of COVID. We're going to cover a little bit of swine flu, Ebola, the Black Plague.
Oh boy! So we got a whole rundown on that. Then of course we got the Netanyahu 60 Minutes interview, the ongoing oil crisis. Trump tweeted just like an hour ago, more insane stuff. It always happens. Like literally, it's like prepping to do a show is like doing a rain dance for a Trump tweet.
It's easy to find stuff though,
dude. It's always right on time.
Yeah,
as well. Which I will say, we were having a little conversation, I think, about the Hantavirus and about like lethality versus transmission and spread.
Yeah.
And the reason why COVID was such, just like a mind screw to everybody, to not use a nasty word there, a four-letter word. The reason why it was such a mind fuck, I can't help but say it, is because everyone's like, well, if I go around somebody, if I go within 6 feet, I will immediately catch the coof and die.
Yeah.
Or give it to grandma and die and whatever. And the thing about the things that are very lethal, like the Hantavirus, is like that doesn't tend to spread.
Yeah, transmission rates are a lot different for more deadly viruses, but we will see the perfect storm that happened with the plague itself. So it's all, I hope we never have another plague again, but,
Well, I'm Dr. Anthony Fauci, and I said that we were going to have another COVID, and I think it's about time.
I'll give you a pardon.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to pardon you.
Exactly. That's the thing is like,
where am I?
You don't pardon people that are innocent, folks. So like when they pardon Mayorkas, when they pardon Fauci, Biden's not doing that because he has like a golden heart. They're like, oh, Biden's just got a heart of gold. He wants everyone to have a pardon. It's not a good thing. Like that shows like something happened.
Wow, he pardoned his son. He's such a chivalrous man.
Absolutely. And I think, and they talk about Biden in the auto pen, and they'll make it out to be like, oh, it's better because Trump's going to be the one doing it. We're going to see the same exact blanket pardons on the way out.
I can't wait to
see. Scott Bessent immediately, Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff.
I can't wait to see the Avengers of the Epstein files get their pardons,
We talk about COVID. COVID is like PTSD. And like we're removed from it now because it's like 5 years in the future, 5+ years in the future. And so much has gone on, like the Ukraine war, just general economic decline in the West, of course, the war in Iran, stuff happening in Gaza, genocides around the world, you name it. But what went on during COVID is like this entire country became like a police state for like at least a year. And like half of it did, I guess I should say.
Yeah, it would be very hard for them to shut the entire world down again.
People are not going to go for that, especially because like it was proven that it was BS. Everything they told you, especially about the vaccine, specifically about the vaccine, they told everyone they had to get the vaccine. Biden mandated it to 80 million federal employees because it stopped transmission.
Just wait till I grow like a third appendix.
No, it's okay. You're
15 years from now.
No, it's like X-Men. You're gonna be one of the cool ones. You're gonna get like telepathy or something.
Ooh.
You're gonna be able to move objects with your mind. Telekinesis. But like that's the thing is like there were so many different lot numbers. There were 3 primary vaccines. There was Pfizer. There was Moderna. There was J&J. I had a girlfriend that got the J&J vaccine, and she was like in bed sick.
I heard the
weeks.
J&J one was bad.
Horrible.
Yeah.
I saw what happened firsthand. I also saw Delta variant. What happens when someone actually gets COVID, like my grandpa.
Yeah.
Right. For example. So like, I'm not discounting anybody's struggle, but they wanted to put people on ventilators and kill them because the hospitals got paid 33 grand. If that's not true, sue me. Not Tim, me. But like seriously.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. But no, but seriously, they paid the hospitals to kill people. That was the government policy. And like my granddad, like had he gone to the hospital in the condition that he was in, he probably wouldn't have made it out. They probably would have put him on a ventilator. But we gave him the therapies. We gave him the nebulizer, the anti-inflammatory stuff for the lungs.
Yep.
We had a doctor there and everything, give you the fluids. And not everybody has access to that treatment, which is why it is unfair. Why I always say healthcare should be universal in this country. I do.
And not just that, people who went to the hospitals had higher rates of catching it because it was literally an incubator for it. It was crazy.
And they say, oh, well, at the beginning, especially like you have heart attack risk, you have stroke risk, you need surgery on your foot, whatever. We can't do that. The hospital is full. They had like fake lines at the hospital.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
That's crazy.
I mean, think about it. I think in totality, they claim is like between 1.5 and 3 million Americans died of COVID. And all that it took to die of COVID was, got a motorcycle crash. Well, you tested positive, you got COVID.
Yeah. So my standpoint on that is I don't know if I trust the official number just naturally, and that's just me being analytical about it and objective. Because some of the reportings were lumped in with other causes of death, right?
Dude, I listened to, I can't say read, I listened to the real Anthony Fauci, RFK Jr.'s book. It's like 36 hours long.
Yeah.
I was active, like paying attention to the news during that time. Like I can't quote from memory the statistics, but this is like the most lied about PSYOP, like murder operation in human history.
Damn.
And like the thing to keep in mind, Fauci himself at the beginning of it said that masks didn't work. There's a video of him going, and the reason why you don't want to wear a mask is you get schmutz on your face, and then you touch it, and it's a no-brainer. It's true. You're wearing the mask, you're touching your face.
Yes.
And the particulates are small enough to get in there anyway, unless you're wearing an N95, and your cloth Hello Kitty mask is not an N95.
Well, and we also saw a test case like Switzerland. They were open the entire time,
Right.
and, you know, the whole country.
It was Switzerland and Sweden, and one was open and one was not. You could see like one that was open had much better metrics on all counts, because it turns out when you force people to stay in their homes, they start killing themselves. Like seriously.
There's a lot of
like, and not directly, not all the way, but like people start living bad. They live in a horrible way.
It was a mass time of depression for people.
Absolutely.
I kind of kept myself sane by like going in outdoors and discovering things I never did before. Going in nature. I also could work remote at that time, so I kind of had like a privilege of something happening around. But yeah, I understand. It's so interesting that everybody went through their own experience, but we all went through the same experience together.
Very true.
So let's see where we're at here.
Let's start off with the old gas prices, and then Wes, I want you to show national average now exceeds 450. So we're just keeping an eye on this because like this is the thing that affects everybody the most.
Yeah, let's check up on those truck drivers.
Okay, so this is what it used to be. Isn't that nice? You remember when Exxon had the Tiger? I remember that. Wasn't that fun? Wasn't that a better
the good
time?
old days.
Look at that. Regular 99 cents plus $1.09, Supreme at $1.19.
We kind of got pretty down close to that at some point.
Yeah, no, we were at like regular was like $2.20 here. Which, I mean, that's still double the price, but inflation.
I saw $1.67 in certain places.
That's crazy. I can't recall that, but I'm sure it's true, especially here. Plus, like a place like here, Florida, you get numbers like that. But let's show what it is now. Because isn't this cute, cuddly, and fun?
Oh, we love it.
We love it.
Hey, we got to do wellness checks Check up on your local neighbor who's driving a truck that gets 7 miles per gallon and he's filling up like a 20-gallon tank.
Check up on your local gas station owner who now has a gold grill and a giant diamond watch. And ask him if he's doing all right.
Put this up, Wes. Yeah, Wes and I were laughing about this.
Yeah! Yeah, ain't that the truth, folks?
Yeah, you know. At least
kids. You got to pay the Epstein price. Oh, man. It's so true, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder, guys, in the chat, I'm curious for one, what state are you living in right now? Okay,
question.
that's the first one. We want to know where you're tuning in. And second one is, what are your gas prices there? And the third is, how much does it cost for you to fill up a tank for your vehicle? I'm very curious about this.
Have you ever like driven or like lived in like California for like any period of time, like even rental car? Yeah, good.
Hell
good man.
no. Too expensive.
Excellent judge of character there. But like $7 a gallon, like they were already kind of near that, right? So what does this become $10 a gallon?
I think under Biden they were getting close to like $8 or $9.
Like, do you have to be like Jake Paul to fill up your Lamborghini? Like, that's the only cars that drive. It's like Dubai. It's like Lamborghini. No one else can afford to pump.
Damn, Washington, Seattle, Washington. All right, let's see where we got here. Okay, so we've got.
Yeah, display them.
We got
$8 for diesel in California.
Oh,
insane, insane.
Damon's got $8 in that's not even sustainable. Okay, and
Most
there's
of my
normal.
life, it's been under or at $3.
There's normal people that work in California that are not making crazy money. All right, so who else we got? We got Oklahoma at $4.05.
That's still insane. That's crazy. And you got to think about the West Texas oil and all the refineries.
Oh, Moshmary, man, this is crazy. $6.50.
Oh no,
no.
That's
Naples.
Called no bueno.
No bueno. Okay, we got Naples, Florida.
It's more expensive than
$4.57. I mean, Naples is a nice area, so.
California, $6.40.
You got North Florida, $4.56, $4.46. Premium, $6.40 in California.
The diesel price is what you really got to keep an eye on because that's food and like goods transportation.
Yep, that is the one. Man, if Californians weren't already getting shafted, yeah. Seriously, how can you guys survive in California? A genuine question. If somebody's in California, how are you surviving? Because even with minimum wage being like what, like 20 something an hour,
they have solar panels on their vehicles, and they're powered by love. They're powered by the power of love and belief and the Sunshine State. That's how they get down.
Pick up your local homeless guy, and he'll
yeah, like a chariot.
Yeah, he'll pull your car
like
for
a
you.
rickshaw.
Yeah. Okay. So where else we got here? So we got
the global Strait infographic, which I want to show because people are like, okay, Strait of Hormuz. Let's take just a quick look. I know we covered this briefly before.
No, you're good.
Let's just take a little look at this infographic. I got a great data center infographic later as well. Let's go ahead and throw that up. Will you click on it so I can read it from the bottom? Yep. Excellent. Yeah. So major straits of the world and just statistics associated with them. The Strait of Malacca, 25% of global traded goods. Hormuz is a quarter of global oil and a third of liquid natural gas. Singapore, 50% of global seaborne trade. The Strait of Gibraltar in the Mediterranean. Bosphorus, Black Sea outlet, Magellan Atlantic, Pacific backup, Bering Arctic Gateway, Bass Australian, not Austrian passage. Pressure points, if you disrupt Malacca, Asia freezes, close Hormuz, the oil spikes. If you block Bosphorus, the Black Sea trade halts. And everyone wants to act like, we scroll down.
Yeah.
Because you got the mouse. You scroll down. Everyone wants to act like this whole situation is controllable. The Bala Mendeb, which isn't on this list, which I thought was on this list, that's the one that Saudi Arabia is using to transport oil right now. And that's what could easily be shut down by the Houthis at any time. So I just want to give people a little bit of context because when these global shipping lanes shut down or anything happens to them, the world stops. And the scary thing about the world stopping is that the world doesn't stop immediately. Because you still have the super tankers on their way and because this system has been around for such a long time, we have, like a month left or a little less than a month left.
Yeah,
some places finally are out.
If you guys recall, I covered this on the American Journal back when we were on InfoWars, and
Right.
These tankers are moving at the speed of a bicycle.
Right.
Okay. So I think it was like 15 miles per hour. So it takes months. By the time that oil leaves that area, it could take like up to 4 months for that to reach its destination, especially in further places like the United States. So one of the reasons why we hadn't had these major shocks quite yet is because of the fact that there were still ships traveling and on their way from before the strait closed.
Sure. And let's think about things also from this grander time scale. I want people to think about the IMEC corridor and China's Belt and Road Initiative. And I was listening to Richard Wolff talk about this. He's an economist, a professor, on Danny Haiphong, and he was like, you think they aren't building like massive railways and things over land right now to compensate for like the control of like the shipping lanes and the water?
Who the Saudis?
The Chinese.
Oh, the Chinese?
The Chinese. Like the Russians, everybody. Like everyone's going to just expand over land now. And sure, it'll take a little bit longer and the BRIC system won't be implemented for another 5-10 years, but it's coming. You know, just like the oil, you know, it's still, we have it over here, but it's not $10 a gallon yet. That's coming, folks.
The problem is the actual kickoff of the event. And it gathers steam like a snowball.
Well, it's already happening.
So it's already happening. It's just a slow movement. And then you finally realize that the train is out of control.
Yeah, let's go to this Trump tweet because this is just psycho and deranged. And
oh, my Lord.
Look at it. And this happened.
Grandpa's writing encyclopedias a lot.
Mouse. I got 30 minutes before I started prepping. I tweeted this out, and I was like, good grief. Yeah, we got to zoom. I can read it. No, it's fine. Just leave it as normal.
Okay.
Because I can reset it to normal because it'll mess it up after we get off the thingy. All right, yeah. And I'll read a little bit of it. I got to do it. Wes, cut back to me for a second. It's like Darth Vader when Palpatine puts on the mask.
Dun 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 dun. I'm Darth Vader now. All I do is tweet.
All right, I'll go ahead and read it. Let's get it up on the screen.
I love Justice Neil Gorsuch. He's a really smart and good man, but he voted against me and our country on tariffs. A devastating move. How do I reconcile this? So bad and hurtful to our country. I have likewise always liked and respected Amy Coney Barrett. But the same thing with her. They were appointed by me. I chose them. I'm in charge. And yet have hurt our country so badly. I do not believe they meant to do so. But their decision on tariffs cost the United States $159 billion that we have to pay back to enemies and people, companies, and countries that have been ripping us off for years. Let me tell you, ripping us off for years. You believe it. People are saying it. It's all true. Sorry. Ripping us off for years. I got to stop trying to be funny because it's so small.
It is so small. You're going to lose.
All right, so he's complaining about the Supreme Court not doing what he wanted to do on the tariff issue. Hey, Trump, if you had written it a little differently, it would have been legal. Lutnick lied to your ass. Like, that's what happened, right? Like, he bet against the tariff futures because he knew it was written in the wrong way.
Yep.
And then he profits billions of dollars off of it.
Money, 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 money.
I mean, do we need to read? It's just swing states talking about landslide victory, blah, blah, blah. I have another way of doing tariffs, but it is far slower and more laborious. Yeah, it's legal.
The law is very tiring. It's very tiring to have to follow the law. We don't like to do that here. That's why I'm the president. Like,
oh, poor you.
Oh, my God.
You had to follow the law.
Yeah, he had to follow the law. I didn't like that. Dissidents, blah, blah, blah. But our country can only handle so many decisions of that magnitude before it breaks down and cracks. Well, the country's cracking already. Sometimes decisions have to be allowed to use good, strong common sense. Why the capitalization is so weird. Like, it really is grandpa take the iPad away type of territory.
You know, he's gotta type the same way he speaks, you know?
I guess that,
so
yeah,
it's like, it's that emphasis.
All right, here, come back to us.
I bet you he's thinking in the way that he speaks too. He's just like,
God.
That was a tough one. What happened? I kind of blacked out. Ooh, it's something about a golden age and the peace president or something. Bombing Iran, Stone Age. I'm glad that's over. But like that's the thing is like, and now it's made you old and gray. It's made you so tired that you Joe Biden. I need the wig now. I should have thrown it away.
Where am I, Donald?
You're inside a cybernetic organism. We're going to turn you into the first human cyborg with AI. Joe Biden will be the president for 1,000 years. We're very proud of it. Very proud of it. How do you feel, Joe? You're going to run the country forever.
Yeah.
I also forgot what I was talking about. Do we have more money to take from foreign lobbies? I think we both do.
So yeah, we like to have fun, but the thing is like it's schizophrenic, and I understand kind of the concept of the mean tweet as like something where it's like, oh, like it's the president kind of like talking smack, and that gets the public galvanized, whatever. But when you end up just like posting screeds, like as we're like the debt clock for the war is like $80 billion.
I remember Ukraine.
Exactly.
It was just like it was yesterday.
I did it again, Joe. I did it again. I did it better this time, let me tell you. I wasted more money than you could have ever wasted. Joe Biden, crooked Joe Biden, only stole $200 billion. I'm trying to steal $200 trillion and bankrupt the U.S. Right, we gotta stop.
No, I love this show.
Man.
Oh, I got my memory back. Whoa, what just happened?
Yeah, exactly. We got to take the wigs off. Because, you start embodying, octogenarian, 80-year-old politician. It's a bit of a problem. Let's just go ahead and skip the anti-flock camera bill and maybe come back to that later.
Do us a favor, guys. If you are on X, please go ahead and repost the stream.
Love
it
you
helps
guys.
tremendously.
I got to send it to my dad. Maybe he'll do it.
Ooh.
Maybe he'll do it.
Is he feeling generous today?
Maybe. He's probably not on his phone, but we did talk earlier.
He did.
We did talk earlier. I think I may end up selling that painting to him. If anyone's watching this, interested in the painting, probably
too late, guys. It is too late.
We'll see. I'm going to talk to him and see how he feels about it. But I'm going to go ahead and I love my dad very much. He's a great guy. Really is a great guy.
Yes, he is.
And here we go. And I sent it to him. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Trump rejects Iran. President Trump politely tells the regime to screw off. Isn't that an oxymoron? After they responded refusing to rip apart nuclear facilities. So
Okay, let's go ahead and play that clip.
Yeah, I'll play the clip.
Other presidents should have done this. 47 years they've been toying with these stupid people. In many cases, stupid people. This should have been done by Obama. He went the other way. He was giving them cash. He sent plane loads of Boeing 757, took the seats out, and put green cash, $1.7 billion in the plane. Every bank in Virginia, D.C., and Maryland was stripped of their cash. They took out all the cash from the banks. They put it into a plane, a Boeing 757 packed with cash, and they flew it to Iran, and they let these guys just, I don't know what the hell they did with it, but they took it and then gave them billions and billions of dollars and bribed them basically to be friends. And after giving them tens of billions of dollars, they screwed Obama, okay? That's not the way we play. No, we do it the old-fashioned way. And they should waive their...
So, like, the most recent response here is what's up at top. Like, I think that clip is a few days old. Will you go ahead and throw it up again, paused? I'm just going to read the tweet really quick for people, because this is new. This is breaking news. People do need to know it. I have just read the response from Iran's so-called representatives. I don't like it. Totally unacceptable. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Blumph.
I mean, I'll be honest. Like, anytime I have seen Iran's deal, like, I wouldn't take it. I'm gonna be honest. Like, why? It is giving them exactly what they want and more, and because they know they kind of have some leverage. But some of
they have tons more leverage.
Right, well, and that's the thing though. Like, the United States isn't just gonna like take it up the ass. Like,
but it's a thing as to where like we're kind of taking it up the ass in our own way.
It is true. I'm not saying this is an ideal situation, but like for us to remove all of our military bases and all presence in the Middle East,
I love it.
They're not going to do that. Too much money lost.
Well, the thing is like if it's a smoking crater, then it's ruined anyway. Right. And if they're still at war, regardless of what the ceasefire is or whatever, I bet if they brought bulldozers and things in there to rebuild those things now, or if they're already doing it, those people are at risk and no one will ensure such operations. And that's the main thing about the Strait. It's going to take 6 months for normal traffic to resume in the Strait,
which is crazy.
So we've already doomed the economy for 2 years. So like we sit here, we talk about these things. The collapse hasn't even started yet. And we just don't want it to get any worse. Isn't that a situation to be in? Isn't that interesting?
What a time to be alive, you know?
And
you survived the pandemic, guys, then you got inflation. You survived inflation, then you got another war. What a time to be
Another one,
alive.
too. That's a good point. It's not just one.
2-for-1 bargain deal. You know, they called me the peace president. They call me peace president because I say, peace out, you're going to die.
Well, you see, Donald, that money was for strippers. And
Oh, we like those. The ones you like are adult. That's a bit of a problem for me.
So
Good grief. We're doing presidential impressions here, ladies and gentlemen.
okay, so now let's see, where are we at? So he rejects the deal, which is totally I knew he was going to do that. Even hold on, you remember Suleiman even said that
True.
the deal
Yeah,
that the Americans gave was actually reasonable. You know, they were going to let him keep some of the enriched uranium, right?
But the thing is Iran is a signatory to the Non-Proliferation Treaty. And back in the 12-Day War, I watched the clips myself of Steve Witkoff talking about this. He says, look, they're willing to come down to whether it was 3 or 3.5%, whatever it was, and we think that's a reasonable basis to negotiate off of and whatever. And then you see him come out of a room, and he's white as a ghost, and he goes, oh, no enrichment. No enrichment ever. So that's the Israeli hard line. And I've got Netanyahu clips from 60 Minutes from just now of him talking about it.
Okay, let's go
and
ahead.
This is the thing. We'll go to it really quick. But here's the key thing that I want people to understand. I look at Trump, and I'm mad at him, not because I think he's truly like the new Hitler or anything, but because he's a coward and because he won't just leave. And you talk about the military bases, whatever. You can't tell me that they couldn't have made a compromise by now if both sides were willing to do so. And the U.S. is unwilling to compromise.
We probably could have had a compromise had we not literally bombed everything and taken out all of their leadership.
Right. And now
because there's a little bit of a bigger emotional aspect at play than all the other times we've ever gotten into a conflict.
All he has to do is declare victory and leave, even right now. But you know what? Let's go ahead and watch the Netanyahu clips. And really quick, Iran informed President Trump that he would make a huge mistake if he dares resume the hostilities. We don't have to show that, but I just want to bring that up. Let's play Netanyahu.
Bibi Netanyahu.
Said it all. Larry Johnson says it's about 90% based off his own calculations.
What's 90%?
But I'm not going with that figure. I'm going with the CNN figure. We've used over 55% of all our missile defense. So how is that not, we can do it all by ourselves? And it's like, well, we've expensed billions in munitions to defend you. So, how is that legitimate? Do you see what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I wonder the amount of time it takes to replace, because they started making changing auto plants into missile and weapons manufacturing in Europe.
That's nice.
That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you bring up as a corollary, because that's mostly directed towards Russia, I believe, but they're also giving aid towards the Israelis. But the Russians have said, TikTok time, we're going to hit those places soon. And that's why
they're going to hit places inside of Europe.
They threatened Germany. They've threatened the UK. They said, you make the Storm Shadow, you make these missiles, we're going to hit you eventually. You can't do this. And if you think about it, they've targeted Putin's house, they targeted the nuclear triad, all of it. This is the thing about the weak people or weak men that create hard times. You sit here and Tim, if you were in government, if I was in government, I would be like, whoa, let's not have a massive conflict that causes global famine and kills everybody. Let's figure out a way to chill it out. But it's like a fake tough guy thing they have over there. Ursula von der Leyen, the unelected head of the EU, she mandated that all tanks made in Germany be made to fit pregnant women. Now, why are we sending pregnant women to war? It sounds like things got really bad. We're fighting aliens or demons or something?
Are we not saying that that's not credible? You double check that?
100% fact.
Holy crap.
100% fact.
Oh, man.
So, that's the lunatics are running the asylum. And, that's why we look at our situation, Trump's a bit of a moron, duty head, but, people in Europe, it's scary, all right? And even they recognize this war is a problem. So what does that tell you? If the people that want to put pregnant women in tanks to go kill the Russians are whoa, stop the war in Iran.
Yeah.
This is a different level of severity.
This is a different level of severity.
What do you think?
We have this guy coming in doing this whole documentary interview on us.
Oh, let's talk about that. It's so fun.
Yeah, so we've got we were contacted a couple of weeks ago by a reporter who is part of the fifth most It's got the
Denmark.
fifth most like traffic of web traffic in Denmark, and they're this news channel called DK or something like
Right.
that. So they're pretty big. They get a lot of views, and he, I guess, came across Gray Area.
Right.
Thank you to all of you guys because the algorithm
gift.
the algorithm
That's
gift,
what he said. It was
that
a
is
gift
what he
to the
said.
algorithm.
He liked what we had to say. And what he said is that he's seeing a lot of the same issues that are happening in Europe happening in the United States. He's kind of like, they're kind of like a CNN over there, and they've got people based in the that come over here and do reporting on the on the US. And it's the first time I think they're doing something of this scale where they're going to try to make a whole documentary on this new independent movement that's going on.
He has a very serious voice. I can't do the German accent very well or whatever it is, like the Scandinavian.
He's a nice guy.
Super great guy, phenomenal guy, but he sounds like, and I wish I could point to who the actual guy is, but in the Barack Obama episode of the Boondocks, like Huey Freeman's getting an interview from like an interview, and he sounds exactly like that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how you do it. You sound exactly like the guy.
Yes.
Exactly. We like it. We're very excited to expand because we want to be global, right? Talk about that.
And more so, it was like he's seeing the movement, and that was the kicker. It was like, this isn't just like some regular Joe Schmo time period we're in. Guys, we're in a real changing of the market.
It's called the fourth turning. Everything's happening right now. So
I guess what he's trying to do is we represent the younger generation who is tired of the current establishment as well as the rest of the world.
I would just say post-Trump. Like, what's going on with the independents? He said libertarian. He just kind of used that language.
Yeah, he said
and
libertarian.
It's a good catch-all term, but like what we really are is like we're post-duopoly.
Yep.
We're like actually America first, not America first, meaning like.
Hey, you're a
Heil Hitler.
groiper, huh?
No, well, I am a groiper, and
You're
that's
a groiper.
That's an honorary title. It's a little different for me. Like I am just like I went to the same school as Nick Fuentes. I just went.
Oh,
in
you
person
did?
And he went online. Well.
I didn't know
The
that.
InfoWars office. Like, that's how he learned how to do a show. That's how I learned how to do a show.
Wow.
So I always call myself a groiper. I always respect him because he is more talented than I am. But at the same time, am I necessarily America first in the context of like Kyle Fuentes? Absolutely not. I'm America first in the sense of the Constitution, in the sense of God, in the sense of being anti-murder, in the sense of prioritizing our own people over here. That's what America first meant to me. And we already got into the event, so we won't do a whole recap, but it got a little, it wasn't what we thought it was going to be.
Dude, groipers, y'all are some ruthless guys.
It's true.
I'm seeing videos of like people putting frogs with ball sacks on Casey Putz's head. Dude, it's
Lord have mercy. We
it's
love
crazy. And I like Casey. It's
love
like
him.
They're going for the throat because of that whole event. But anyways,
let's go ahead and roll the next Netanyahu clip, which is about the uranium. And this is what I was referencing. And this is what I want people to understand is when another country, and we can talk about influence markets and peddling, we talk about lobbies, they take us to war. That's why it's a huge problem. That's why when someone goes, hey, I'm a Zionist, you go, okay, so you believe that we have the right, or you have the right to make us go to war for you. Because that's what happened. And Rubio said that on tape. There's no arguing with it.
No.
They were going to strike, so we had to strike, so it wasn't as bad. Let's go.
What?
Okay. Well, someone's opinionated. You in what army? Ours? Us? We going to get drafted? I'm going to Mexico. The Latinas.
buckle up, boys. We going to war.
Dude. And he
Boots
said
on the
it-
ground, soldier.
He says it with such glee. Like, can we?
He is smiling while he says
Can we go
that.
back and can we play it? Can we go like just 5 seconds back and play it? Yeah. Who is you? Excellent point, Jimmy Johns. Who is you? Who? Like they always say, who is they? Okay, who is you? When we're being referred to, but like, what is going on? All right, we'll play it.
You go in and you take it out.
With what? Special forces from Israel? Special forces?
Didn't even get
We got it. We got to just still
Oh, you're
frame
trying to
on
get the
his
face.
face. Dude,
Okay, I
he's
get it,
just
I get
he's
it.
chuckling about it.
Go back a little bit.
Yeah,
Wes.
he is. He's evangelizing about the
He
war.
is smiling.
Dude.
Oh.
Go back a little bit more, even more, just a little bit back. He's full on. Oh well, that's something else.
Would you let him babysit your
No,
kids?
absolutely not. We got to find a nastier still frame. There's got to be one.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah, look at that. That's like the gecko face. It's like
Actually-
lizard man, reptilian.
You know what? I actually just understood the gravity of this smile. Okay. No, because like, look, let's put 2 and 2 together. You want to go grab uranium. What does that require? Boots on the ground.
Absolutely.
Okay, boots on the ground. How many you think die? Several, right?
Yeah. Thousands, tens
To
of thousands.
smile in the presence of a situation like this means that you do not understand the severity of the decision.
Right, and the thing about that is, it's not like he's like, well, this is a grave matter, and we must. And he's not like resolved. He's like, look, he's like, that's like when you're rinsing up the hose. Like that's like when you're telling her a
She had a fat one on her, didn't she?
Well, when you're telling her a story about how cool you are, that's the face you make.
And I said, I like me some big booty Latinas.
And let me tell you, the American army, they have very attractive female soldiers. And some of them die, and they end up in our morgues. I do things to the bodies. Like that's who he is. That's who Netanyahu is. And like he's licking his like the guy with behind the tree with the hands.
Well, and so here's where I distinguish myself. Okay, I can call out Bibi specifically because that is not a look of a man who's actually feeling bad about the fact that people are dying.
He's happy about it.
Right? Now, I've said this before. He is not representative of everybody, which is why I won't just lump in every single Jew, because not even every single Jew likes that man. They actually want him out. But he's refusing to get out at the same time by continuing. As long as there's conflict, Rex, he gets to stay in power.
Well, and that's the thing, and it's reflective on our society that we have a large population of evangelical Christians here in America that support this guy and think that this guy is like some sort of like, they think that he's like some sort of Messiah. And, that's Netanyahu's view of himself. Netanyahu, of course, is a war veteran. He's seen the horrors of war, and he liked it, Like the Katy Perry song, I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It. Netanyahu kissed a war and he liked it. And that's pretty much how their relationship formed. And it became this thing of like, survival. And then it becomes killing all of them everywhere.
Right.
And you can see how that happens. Let's play the rest of the clip.
With what? Special forces from Israel, special forces from the United States?
Well, I'm not going to talk about military means, but what President Trump has said to me, I want to go in there.
I'm not going to talk about it. I want boots on the ground. I'm not going to. Who does it? I don't know. The Chinese?
Yeah, we're going to send. Yeah, it's like, who are you going to send in? Very good question by the reporter. And of course, he starts doing like freaking ninja matrix moves around the question. Come on, brother.
Well, I mean, like, he knows what he's advocating for, and you can see he's not happy anymore because he's got to, like, cover it up. When he's telling the truth earlier, he lights up like a Christmas tree. Play the rest of it.
Yeah.
Between who? Between us and you? I never signed up or voted for you.
He did a very good, like, backdoor answer. He kind of had to cover up for the beginning of that. Yeah, he had to cover up the beginning. He's like, yeah, we want to go in there, but, we can go in there with a deal.
Well, no, agreement. I take that, like, you took it as deal, and I understand why you take it as deal, because, like, that's, like, agreement, deal, like, that would make sense. I take agreement as, like, military strike agreement. Like, we agree to strike them now. Like, that's the agreement, and that agreement is not between Netanyahu and the American people. The American people voted against war overwhelmingly. That agreement is between him and Trump, the guy who promised to not do war, and that's why you should be angry.
And what you should understand is, up till now, we have said every single time we have bombed the living daylight out of them, including the bunker busters, that they had their entire program destroyed.
Right.
This is not a reflection of, you still wouldn't be chasing somebody this hard had you destroyed everything, which makes you understand maybe we don't have as much control over the situation and getting access to the things that we don't want them to have.
I had this explained to me by a military guy, and he's like, look, it's 8 times harder to attack a place than it is to defend it. And like, that's just the math. It's just like you have like a layered defense. It's how it works. In Iran, they have a layered defense. They have the boats, they have the missiles, they have the drones.
They figured out how to put stuff in the ground.
The thing is, and like, no matter how many of them die, there are always going to be more that are willing to die. And like, that's the thing about us. And like, I heard Andrei Martyanov talk about this, former Russian naval officer, I believe. I could be wrong about his credentials, but he's a serious military guy. And he was like, yeah, like the United States is extremely sensitive to casualties. Extremely sensitive. Like anything happens, like we lost 13 American soldiers, right? Or 14, excuse me, so far in this conflict. The Russians, Ukrainians have lost millions, And like that's just something they deal with. But for us, you know, that's like people get outraged about that over here because we don't have a history of like, oh, in America, you know, there's this year in 1820 when like 40.
No, the most we've ever lost is during the Civil War.
400,000 or
It was
something like that.
during the Civil War. I think it was like 700.
Okay,
But it was the fact
think
that
in World War II.
we did it to ourselves in a Civil War sense.
Right, it's a domestic conflict.
Right.
So like that's an interesting point to make. But America, we don't have this history of casualty. And like that's why when the Israelis, it's a highly militant society where they live around a bunch of people that hate them. That's why they're like, you must help us out with all our wars. We're over here. Americans are really pacifists, and I do believe this. Like Americans, the vast majority of them, they don't want to kill people in another country.
True.
Maybe 30-40% of them do, but I think 60 to 70%
No,
don't.
I would even put that number lower. It really is that like extreme version of the population that just
But
they
out
do
of
like
that, but out of that extreme portion of the population, that minority is a lot more likely to interact with politics.
yeah, they're loud.
So they have an
They're loud.
outsized influence on both the left and the right when it comes to the wars.
Right, because here's the thing: if you're peace-loving kind of pacifist, you're not doing what it takes to climb that high.
Sure.
You kind of just want to live a normal life for the most part.
Well, I mean, look at Epstein's lawyer, now a Republican, as an example for like what's going on. Like if you ever wanted any like a more perfect example for how like it's all the same thing and it's just a different flavor of poo that they sell you every time you go to the market of politics. Just look at Alan Dershowitz, right? Epstein's lawyer literally telling you now I'm a Republican and we must attack Iran, which is just crazy. It's crazy work. And he's on record getting a massage, you know, a special kind of massage, but he kept his underwear on. So he's okay.
He's okay, right?
There's a thin layer of cotton beneath.
What a guy! What a
Right?
respectful man.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and I want to show this graphic about the data center. I want to get into this. This is some pretty scary stuff, guys. This is
We love it.
not awesome. Come on, right click. Just let me go ahead and click on the link. So check this out, guys. This is the Stratos hyperscale data center. Can we zoom in? This
If you
is a
right click and open
image in new tab.
yeah,
In 1 second. And Wes, maybe you can zoom in a little bit on your
and then you can zoom in now.
Here, what's the control to do that again? Go ahead and do it. Changed. Okay.
Okay.
What is it again? Is it
Control and then
minus
and then
or
you
the
scroll
wheel?
with the scroll.
All right. So we got 2.5 times the size of Manhattan, the Stratos hyperscale data center, 4,000 acres, 9 gigawatts, Hansel Valley, Utah, and they're building this right next to Great Salt Lake.
That's
9
crazy.
gigawatt. That's more than 2 times the entire state's electrical demand. 16.6 billion gallons a year estimated water for gas turbines alone. 23 atomic bombs daily heat output. Dude, they're summoning it Satan. Like you don't like this is crazy. All right. 55 to 75% increase in Utah's CO2 emissions. So every time they told you to use a paper straw, every time they told you not to drive as much, every time they told you that you were bad because you ate a steak, what the fuck? Because let's say all that makes the climate go up like 10%. Like, this is insane, guys. Like, this is wild. And look at this. Thermal pollution and heat island. It's going to make the temperature rise by up to 5 degrees Fahrenheit. Nighttime temperature rise plus 8 to 12. What? What? I'm like Little John. Yeah. What? What's going on, dude? How is this legal? What do you think?
What do I think?
As an engineer.
As an engineer, so the first part is, where do I start? Okay, so the fact of the energy, that scares me.
Right.
The electricity demand is already an issue as it is. We're not building any new infrastructure to really solve that. We haven't reached a point where we've like figured the equation out to how to like actually put the money into
build a nuclear power plant next to the.
Well, the problem with nuclear power plants is it's a ton of money. It takes a long time to build them, and then your ROI. It takes a while to recuperate that money. But the biggest problem is like people have history of Chernobyl and they remember like 3 Mile Island.
A dirty word to a lot of people.
So people are like, not in my backyard.
Yeah.
But when I see this, it was crazy because as I saw Kevin O'Leary talking about this, he made it seem like, hey, I'm just buying a plot of land and I'm just buying the shovel, you know, that people are building the thing on top of, and it's a great thing.
me and Tim, we try to check each other when we get too racist. All right.
I am being
you're
racist.
being really racist because Kevin O'Leary has an environmental studies degree. So that means he knows how to save the environment, even though he's going to make something that uses 2.5 times the entire power of the state. Don't be racist and criticize.
Well, the CO2 alone, right? Like that's the thing that makes me scratch my head. And remember, I asked you this last time. I'm like, I asked somebody, I said, what happened to global warming? Because that was something that was like spoke upon. We were trying to come out with all these different things. We're trying to do, electric cars by 2030, and you must drink the plastic, the paper straw. And the biggest one, I don't know, you haven't lived in the East Coast.
Yeah.
They took all the plastic bags out of every single store. There were time periods where they didn't even have paper bags. So you're sitting there with all your stuff in your arms like this, trying to carry all of that, and you're just like, what am I paying for?
Not to get too off topic, but remember when they didn't have self-checkout? Remember when there wasn't a thank you. Remember it was a human being, and it was someone that got a job, got a salary to scan your stuff, and for efficiency's sake, for profit's sake, we sacrificed all that, and we willingly let that go. So now when you go to the grocery store, that's just what you put up with, and it's going to be the same thing for the data center.
And the problem is like when the data center pops up,
right?
You don't realize that it's actually being built most of the time unless you're really paying attention. There's not like a sign like, hey, this thing is being built in your backyard. It kind of just appears there. And that's also like the information. They try to keep these things as silent as possible so that you don't make a big deal out of it when it comes down to you needing to vote at this at town hall.
And they're also like, oh, well, it's going to create X number of jobs. And all the jobs, most of the jobs are temporary, right?
Yes.
Building, construction, labor jobs.
To actually run a data center, and this is one of the bigger ones, but like even some of the medium to
big dog.
It can take around like 50 people to maintain, some of these larger ones, maybe 50 to 100. 20,000 people be right out of a job and go to the next site, and you got to move to build the next data center.
Yeah, they're going to have Terminators with guns outside these things. Literally, they'll just be like, I thought it was cute and quirky. I'm Sam Altman. I made a Terminator that kills people. Like that, they'll roll that out and everyone be like, well, sports was on the TV.
So it says energy footprint, 40,000 Walmart supercenters.
That's nice.
What else we got?
Wait, 40,000.
40,000.
Yeah, so everybody eat a steak, drive as much as you want, smoke like just an entire carton of cigarettes.
Leave the car idle on. Don't shut off your cars, guys.
Yes, just refuel it while it's on. Don't do that. don't do that. That's a joke. That's not advice. Don't listen to me. But yeah, so they're doing this thing. They're abusing the people, and then you just get told, suck up, you got to pay.
Okay, so we've got other ones here. So we've got air quality and emissions. That's bad. So
1,857 to 12,000 tons of nitrous. Or what's that? Is that
nitrous oxide?
Nitric oxide. That's what I thought per year, depending on generator type. 30.2 to 41 million tons CO2, carbon dioxide per year. 5 times all Box Elder County's industrial nitric oxide 2020 baseline. So like the air quality literally gets 5 times worse.
And not to mention, you're talking about the wildlife ecosystem impact. That was the first thing that went through my head was like, what are you doing to the entire environment that lives around there? Well, because these ecosystems are pretty delicate, believe it or not.
Animals. What kind of computing power does a deer have? how many quirky Pixar things can you generate with a deer's brain? Not many. With our data center, we can generate all we want.
Noise pollution, that is a big one. We played videos on that at some point. It makes this large whoa, 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 and you can hear it from a very far distance. So what else we got? I got a
video of that too. Let me just really quick. Land use, of course, they're stealing the land, materials. It's going to be super expensive. A lot of these things make other prices go up for people trying to build other things. Governance and transparency. Oh, it's approved in 5 months versus the industry standard 5 years. No corruption at all. Certainly not. That never happens with regulatory bodies. Fast track via military authority loophole. So the military,
what does that even mean?
The military says we have to build it. And keep in mind, all of the top AI executives, or they have a top AI executive in each one of these companies, that's a military officer.
You know what? This makes sense because what you do is you make the claim this is for national security purposes. And you say, well, China is out competing us in this area. We need this in order to stay ahead. Otherwise, we are going to fall behind and we are going to let our enemies win. Easy justification. Somebody goes in, fills a piece of paper out.
Nobody owns it. That's another thing. Nobody on record owns it. There's no environmental impact study. Mr. Kevin O'Leary talking about, oh, I do love the environment. Well, where's the proof of that?
Well, he's saying he's buying the land, but I guarantee you he's also investing in the planet itself.
It's a nest of vipers.
Yeah,
or whatever.
He's investing in the
planet. A Shark Tank that owns it probably. And look at the power scale. Look at that. From 920, which is what's currently, that seems reasonable. Yeah, and even phase 1, 3,000. What is that? Just like a little over 3 times boost. 9,000 megawatts.
It's insane.
I mean, just the people, like you will starve and you will not have AC and you will not have water, and the data center will generate endless videos of Epstein as Iron Man.
I wonder, if they don't update the infrastructure to actually handle these things, are we just going to have tons of rolling blackouts like we already do in Austin?
Yeah, and that's what's going to cause, the revolt against those things. And they better have their robots built quick enough. Here's the thing. I watched back Mike Adams break this down. I don't know what your opinion is on this.
About what?
About the data centers. But I think there's no reason you would need that much computational power to build a large language model or do any of these things, even AGI. What I think that they're trying to do, and I saw Mike Adams break this down. He's a very smart guy, and I sent you that clip to watch as well. I highly recommend that you do. We're building things that are big enough to run simulated worlds and or universes, and then to create intelligences that have to figure out problems in that data set, in that space. And then from that lower dimension, we bring them up and they live in the data center. That's basically how I heard it explained.
I'm sure that's probably one angle. The other part is they are predicting future demand is also another thing.
Well, sure.
So if you're not
running simulations of the present.
Well, when I say future demand, I mean future demand for the product itself of AI.
Yeah, but
right?
It's a little too big. I don't know. 62 miles, like the dot-com bubble, the housing crisis, these are big bubbles. But were people building houses like this in the housing crisis?
No,
too much money.
So here's one angle. Okay, so from one angle, you're underestimating how much people are actually using AI every single day. You're talking about billions of queries every single day. It takes a ton of computing power.
I'm sure.
Now, I'm not sitting here saying that this is justifying just going about it how we're going about it, but there is sort of a supply and demand issue here in order to keep up with.
I think they're building too many massive ones.
And what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it as advanced as possible. And in order to make something more advanced or smarter, you need more computing power and you need more ability. Now, that's not me saying, this is just me giving you the explanation of why you would need to get it bigger and bigger and bigger.
I understand what you're saying, but the way they talk about using intelligence as a meter on a meter, they're going to outsource it as a utility, and they're going to have infinite access to this, infinite free access to this, and everyone else is going to have to pay for 1/1,000,000th of what they're actually able to do. That's not even the biggest data center. I think it's in the top 5, but it's not even in the top 3. I got Project Matador exposed. Let's play that video, and then we'll play the Evil Data Center Makes Noises, which is what you were talking about, and then we'll do the deep dive.
Okay.
If you want. We got a little bit of politics to talk about, too.
Yes, everything really is bigger in Texas. This is Project Matador. This will be the largest data center in the entire world. To understand the actual size of this, it's 18 million square feet, okay? You could fit 15 Disneylands inside of this place, okay? 15. It would encompass the whole island of Key West. Wait till you hear how much power is used. 17 gigawatts, okay? To put that into perspective, it is literally enough power for 3 Irelands. It would power the whole state of Colorado and requires more power than the whole country of New Zealand 2.5 times. It would take literally 15 nuclear reactors just to produce enough power for this thing to run. Don't worry, guys. It only uses nearly 1 billion gallons of water a year just to operate, even though they have a cooling system. Not only that, it'll literally produce nearly 23.5 million pounds of greenhouse gas emissions, which accounts for almost 15% of the whole state of Texas. How loud this thing is going to be, right? It's 90 to 120 decibels. That's the equivalent of being next to someone with power tools. Now imagine trying to sleep next to this. We all need to speak out against these data centers. They're coming to a town near you. Just watch.
You have nothing to
is more than double the power, almost double the power that the other one uses. And that's the one they're building here in Texas.
Yeah. I'm also here. There is a white pill to this, by the way, guys.
I don't know.
No. There is.
There is.
There's a white pill to this, and it's not about the technology. There's a white pill in the sense that people have been waking up and have been pushing back against this whole increase of data centers, especially in their backyard. And so a lot of these projects are starting to get canceled. As well. One because either the infrastructure is there. Also, remember, this is a supply and demand thing. So they're building for future demand, but the AI market, it's in a bit of a bubble situation too, to where a lot of the companies that have been here or going to be are not actually profitable. They're not
Heavily
it doesn't make
subsidized, protected by the military specifically, and a lot of U.S. government funding. Because as you said earlier, you get approval in 5 months if it's a matter of national security.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, even to run these things, it is not profitable for the company up to a certain extent. So people are realizing that you're hemorrhaging money. Like, OpenAI is not profitable by any means. They're hemorrhaging.
Nonprofit?
They're hemorraging.
They were a nonprofit, not.
Yeah, because they thought they were going to open source, and then they didn't make it open source. Hence the name OpenAI.
Go ahead.
You know how they did that
a little bit.
But all I'm saying is like OpenAI is hemorrhaging billions of dollars, and they have no solution, because the problem is that even your subscription that you were paying for is not enough to actually keep up with everything that they're building, plus the amount of computing power and all the other things that it takes to actually run it. So what you're going to see is the data centers is kind of one of those things that's like exploding very rapidly, but you're going to see a lot of these projects also fall through at the same time. So I don't want everybody panicking too hard. It is something that needs to be addressed and noticed, but it is not like you can just prop up thousands of data centers and there's no regulation or things that push back. Like there's no way that you can produce enough power, 15 nuclear plants to run that place.
No, absolutely.
So they do a lot of like, ooh, we're doing this shock and awe to get investors in, but the actual practicality of building that thing.
Well, I hear that, but I think that I think some drastic steps are going to be taken. I think they're really getting people ready, to live with the rolling blackout, to live under the suffrage of it. Because, hey, we got to win the war. Haven't you been hearing that about your gas prices? So I get real sussed out. I get real sussed out by anything where they tell you, hey, it might suck for a while, but it's going to be so amazing. Here's the thing. 5 years ago, I was living just fine. I went over to a place in Terrytown, and someone showed me ChatGPT, and like whatever the image generator one at first was popular. And I was like, man, this is really cool. It works like Google always, like I thought Google should work as a kid, but do I really need this? I think that's a question that a lot of people are going to be asking themselves. Now, the government, they will say, of course we need it for military. Like we have to have the best, or China will have the best, and that's dangerous. But to the person listening to this right now, you were fine. You know, there's going to be an entire generation coming up very soon that doesn't know that. Think about that.
Yeah. But also this, the engineering.
You love the technology.
The engineering's coming out of me.
The worship of the computer. It is what it is.
The computer.
It is what it is.
No.
Computer fix everything. Computer heal my life.
No. What I was gonna say is like people are afraid of the job replacement stuff.
Yes.
It's actually starting to become that. It's going to actually start creating more jobs, is what it's looking like. But the problem, the problem is depending on the skill set that it's required, because they're starting to realize that the AI is not able to replace the job. It has to be used as a tool, because AI will never be as smart as humans anytime soon.
Yeah.
So
as you build
what you're doing is like, how like we did the there's going to be a lot of pain though, is the problem, because you have to retrain an entire population into doing other tasks that accomplish it. And AI, when used properly, can be a massive tool for productivity. That's why I'm like, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, but at the same time, we need also we need regulation to keep up with the technology growth. That's the real message here that I want to explain to people. I'll do a deep dive. That's what I'll do.
All right. This was just a bizarre comment. I don't want context on. I don't want anything. Throw a paper map in front of 50% of people and have them navigate 500 miles in their Jewish canoe. What is that? I don't even want to know what it means. But
I have no idea.
A non sequitur. Just thought it was funny. Let's go ahead and go to evil data center makes noises. Oh, the pollution. Yeah, let's show this. This is happy and healthy and liberal. Liberal, liberal, liberal. Look at this. The same people building these things want you to pay carbon taxes.
It sounds like you're on like an airplane tarmac.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
These people, they've been talking about carbon taxes for decades and decades and decades. I mean, it's just unbelievable. You should be outraged. Right.
Straw for you.
Seriously.
Paper straw for you.
Paper straw for you. Private jet for me. That's another shirt. Paper straw for you. Private jet for me. Yeah, and it's got one. It's got like Larry Ellison on it. Yeah, like that's a banger right there. That's heat. Now
mask for you. Din din for me.
Exactly. Yeah. Full stomach. Exactly. Let's show evil data center makes noises. This is what you're talking about.
Yep. These things, it sounds like an airplane, dude.
And
you know?
He turned down the clip. It's loud. It's very loud. No, you're all good. I guess it was all the way up.
Dude, there's some people with the data center in their backyard. Here's the thing about the data center.
Well, that's your best
it's not. See, now
it's your best buddy.
I take one position to white pill you guys. Yeah, I'm Mossad. Sorry.
Yeah.
Mossad agent here to infiltrate and brainwash you guys into thinking that all the AI leaders.
And when the studio lights are off, I Heil Hitler in here. I do 1,000 Hitler salutes every night. Exactly. I play the Kanye. So it's an interesting, dynamic that we have here.
We're so messed up.
Speaking about that, let's go to Nick Fuentes, who came out as a Democrat this week. I wanted to get your take on this before the deep dive because it is quite interesting. And his position kind of makes sense, but you're going to listen to this lady talk about him, and she's got an opinion. Now, I want you to notice this. You can't tell, and I didn't even look it up. I don't know whether this is a left-wing or a right-wing outlet. I think it's right-wing. Notice how it's like uniparty media. Listen to her talk about Fuentes.
Okay.
Welcome back to the show. The racist, anti-Semitic, misogynistic podcaster Nick Fuentes came out as a Democrat this week, telling his audience, "I'm a non-woke, moderate Democrat. I think the GOP needs to be destroyed." He is not alone in crossing the aisle. Marjorie Taylor Greene has a newfound love for and among Democrats since she turned on Donald Trump and started blaming Israel for genocide, among all manner of other crimes. Tucker Carlson is now excited to meet with the Democratic Senate candidate for Maine, Graham Plattner, whose most salient feature is the Nazi tattoo he's had for 20 years and only covered up with another tattoo.
So he actually does have a Nazi tattoo.
Who's this guy?
So this guy, Graham Plattner, he's a Democrat, and he had you're probably not familiar with the various insignias and stuff, but there's a particular skull and crossbones that is I think it's like Waffen SS or whatever.
Oh, the lightning bolt thing?
No, not the lightning bolt. It's a skull, and it's got the two bones underneath, but real close underneath the skull. Okay, and he had it on his chest, and I saw an old video of him where he had the tattoo. He recently did get it covered up. That's just an interesting anecdote I wanted to give people. What do you think of this? And you said this is Cuomo's outfit?
Yeah, Cuomo is part of News Nation, so this is definitely a left-leaning outlet. Gotcha. I want to hear what else she has to say. Ooh, she's wearing that necklace proud.
Yeah, exactly.
Tattoo a few months ago when his political opponents were about to expose it. Anna Kasparian of the left-wing Young Turks has admitted she watches the virulently anti-Semitic Candace Owens and is deeply moved by Owens' content. This meeting of the minds between prominent far-right influencers and the left hinges on a singular issue: their level of comfort for blaming Jews for the world's ills. Once it passes a certain level, a person seems to invariably find themselves on the left these days, which has become hostile to Jewish interests.
Wait, the left has become hostile to Jewish interests?
Over 70% of Jewish people vote Democrat. So, here's what you see. You see this super weird thing with this war, with this conflict, where, like I said, Epstein's lawyer is now a Republican based on the interest. It's not Jewish people. I'll be very clear about this. It's the Zionism. And if you're not a Zionist, then you're anti-Jew. And that's my problem. I'm anti-Zionist. I'm not anti-Jew.
Yeah,
So
the key distinction.
They draw them together, and it's a strengthening thing for the politicos and for the elites to say this is actually, you know, when you don't support Israel, you don't support Jewish people because we say this is our state.
The problem is the word has become synonymous with Jewish. Right?
No.
I'm saying like you hear the word. I'm telling you, to the average person when they hear the word Zionism,
That's liberal media indoctrination. You shouldn't be a Zionist.
What I'm saying is I'm telling you, like, the marrying of the terms. So, like, there are people who will go out there and they'll preach against Zionism, but then somehow it gets attached to the general population of Jewish.
The people that are anti-Semitic say they're anti-Semitic a lot of the time. Now, I do agree, like, when we're sitting together on the panel, and it's different, and it's someone saying something that you don't agree with, and then you're together with them.
I'm just saying, like, what I'm seeing on the internet, and it's like not even just that, but like in general. Actually, I'll just give you a quick anecdotal story.
Okay.
I was at an event 2 days ago, and I met. I was here.
Back? Okay.
I was back. I met this guy, super nice guy. He's like a PhD, smart dude, and you know. We started talking. Somehow we got into politics, and he's Jewish. And I kind of clocked it, but I wasn't sure. And he was like, "Dude, I'm genuinely scared right now." And he's like, you know, he has like people threatening him. He has all these different things happening. And like I know him through mutual friends as well. Like he has nothing to do with anything political, and he is like genuinely scared of the fact that like what's been happening to him adjacent from all the stuff that he had nothing to do with. And that's what I'm saying.
People are just like, you're Jewish, I don't like you?
Yeah, that's literally happening. And so that's why I'm saying like a narrative gets out of control to a certain extent. And that was why I was trying to tell people, I'm like, look.
Well, the thing is, here's my opinion.
It was, hold on, let me finish. It's the same thing that like, you know, there was a situation where like, I don't know, some black people, or maybe even some, let's give a scenario where like the white people did something, right? And the guy, George Floyd situation happened.
Okay.
Then somebody went on top of that agenda and they said, well, let's defund the police and take it to the extreme.
Yeah,
and so like it gets to a point where you are taking things to
you're making the corollary where you're making the Jewish people and the Israelis synonymous, and I don't think that's a fair distinction.
No, I'm not saying that they are synonymous in the sense
saying that's the perception.
I'm saying the perception has gotten to that point.
And
that's what I'm trying to say.
I think that's valid, and I don't agree with that in any way, shape, or form. However, I do view this state as a terrorist state, and I view supporting it in its current incarnation as evil. So when people go, people are attacking me because I'm Jewish, if that's happening, straight up, that's horrible. Don't approve of that. Totally disavow. But when people are like, I don't know, I'm a Zionist and I support the state of Israel, people can come after you and say, well, I think you're a murderer. And I think that's valid.
Well, I'm saying it depends on, okay, it's like I support America. I love America. But do I support what we do when it comes to war? Hell no. Okay, but the fact that I love my country should not make me...
Yeah, but the majority of them support the war. That's the problem. It's like 48%.
I understand where you're going with that, but at the same time, remember, we've talked about this being a negative feedback loop for a very long time. We had the Israeli come on.
I think two things can be true at the same time. I agree with your point. Yes. I think my point is valid. And the issue, and it's called the gray area, we talk about the extremism because you look at someone like Dan Bilzerian, for example, and we were going to have...
That's an extreme case.
We were going to try to have Dan Bilzerian on the show, and I see these clips now, and he's like, I want to go over there. I had a list to go over there and kill him. You should go kill the Israeli. I'm not saying that. He said that. And you're just like, well, you're subversive. Like, you're trying to create, like, a criminal action in people. You're trying to, like, advocate for, like, violence.
Okay.
And I disavow that.
I agree with you. Now, remember, we talk about this term where something that seems, like, in general, where something at first normalizes you to a behavior. The only reason why he's gotten to the point where he's this bold to say that is because of the increase.
I think he's working for Netanyahu.
Well,
I think only someone that works for Netanyahu would say something like that.
I'm saying,
I have no filter. I'm saying it right now. It's the same thing with the nuclear weapons. We want them to have the nukes. It's the same type of thing. You're giving the excuse.
You're saying you think Dan Bilzerian works for Netanyahu?
Sure. Why not?
He hates Jewish people.
Well, isn't that perfect? Oh, we have all this Jew hatred. We must have a state and a military. We must kill people because we got all this hatred. Look at this hater over here.
So I get
you see-
I get
do
where
you
you're saying,
see
because
what
you're
I'm
like
saying?
you don't like the fact of when you try to pin everything as anti-Semitic, and then you get to hide behind the cloak of the veil of
thing
anti-Semitism.
is like anti-Zionism, divestment from Israel, stopping the foreign wars, stopping the killing. That has nothing to do with going over there ourselves and killing Israelis. And when you're running in a very prominent election against Randy Fine in a district of boomer evangelicals, and you're going out there saying these things about wanting to go over there and kill Israelis, you're not trying to win the race. You're trying to destroy somebody's movement. I think he's hurt Nick Fuentes' movement. I think that's what the intention has been. That's why I say that. And you know what, Dan? I don't know you personally. Talk about it, whatever. But I view these actions as quite extreme. So and I want total divestment. I cannot stand it.
Totally agree with you. And I'm not saying that every single person that is speaking out against everything that's happened that the Israelis did do in Palestine is wrong. I've also called out. I've been critical of it. My problem is that like the wheels are starting to come off the train just a little bit.
Well, the thing is, you use words like critical and stuff. Fuck the genocide. Fuck the killers. Fuck the IDF. Like, that's me saying that, not you. But see, I can't censor. And like we have differences of opinion. We have disagreements. The thing is, they take us to fucking war, man. They take us to fucking war. Marco Rubio said, they were going to strike, so we had to strike, so American soldiers didn't get killed. American soldiers still got killed. Global economic shutdown, meltdown, crisis. That's why I'm anti-Zionist. And that's why you have to make that distinction, of course, but that state is bad in its current incarnation. It's a bad state, terrorist state.
But I'm saying don't lump the entire state for the decisions of the people who have the power to make the decision.
Well,
because not every single person.
I blame Americans.
Also, you got to remember one other thing. You know how we have a very big population of people who get lied to by the government and get propagandized?
Well,
every single country is privy. So if you are being told on a day-to-day basis that these people want to kill you every single day and you create that fear, you're going to support the defense of something.
I think the Israeli government did that to their citizens and brainwashed them to believe that all the Palestinians were Amalek and they had a biblical right to kill them.
And that is what I'm saying. Like these things are nuanced. There's so many layers because it's easy for us to be like from the outside being like, oh, well, you know, every single Israeli that lives in Israel is just bad and evil about this thing and supporting the war. But we don't know what it's like to have missiles flying over our head. And when you create a news environment and a narrative of, okay, it's constantly like you are always on edge, you're gonna want to squash whatever's around you. Now, the problem was...
I think that's bullshit.
No. The problem was, even if you talk about October 7th being a false flag, they let it happen.
Not a green flag operation.
Green flag, false flag.
It's an important distinction.
Yeah.
People say you said it's fake. We're not saying it's fake.
I'm not saying
green flag. They let it happen. They have a helicopter base 10 minutes from there.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Distinction.
10 minutes from there.
That's what I'm saying. When that situation happens, again, it adds more fuel to the fire. And like I said, we had an Israeli on here. It's very complicated issue to where it's not just black and white and be like, oh, well, I support it. Because the same thing is here.
That's your position.
No, that is my position. My thing is like, I want to stop the killing. I want to stop the war, but I also want to stop the hatred of lumping entire groups into situations when these situations are complex and nuanced.
Yeah, but when people in the group don't acknowledge that their group is being lumped together for some evil purpose, then that's crazy.
We don't see it necessarily because of the fact that like even the whatever is being controlled, it's controlled even online. Like if you don't cleanse your timeline, you're getting the same shit. Like at some point, I ended up in Groyperland somehow. I don't know how, but the only thing I was seeing every single day was like this, that. It was all Nick Fuentes. I didn't get anything else for an entire week.
Here's the thing. My political positions don't come from Groyperland. They come from people like Anthony Aguilar, and I had him on the show, and he talked about how they walked these people basically into machine gun fire at the GHF AIDS.
And I am not defending the actions of those people. Wrong is wrong. The people who did that are wrong. But I go back to the same point. I'm trying not to curse anymore.
You're good.
We're
both working on that.
On the shows. I get tired of even having a subscription of like what I am as an American and how people like paint us to be like, oh, Americans are just lazy, or Americans can't do this, or Americans. I go around the world and they have a perception of us, strictly because the government has painted whatever picture, and we go around and we bully. Okay, I'm tired of that. That does come from somewhere.
That's the problem,
right? And even if you're speaking out, those people aren't hearing that message all the time. They're just seeing the outside perception. So, like I said, all I'm saying is like, let's not allow these situations to go, because then you allow a gap to happen to where like someone like Dan Bilzerian's running for Congress, and he has a platform where there's actually hundreds of thousands of people who like him.
Well, this is my
and actually support that position.
This is my problem: is that the people supporting Dan Bilzerian, supporting him on the basis of wanting Randy Fine out of there because he's a genocidal pig, are not supporting Dan Bilzerian because he wants to go over there and kill Israelis. However, the two positions then get lumped together, kind of just like what you're talking about, and that creates the issue, and that's called a Judas goat, and that's my perception of the events that have transpired.
But I also look in the comment sections, and people are like, "Yeah, Dan, kill them all," and I'm like, "What?"
It's the internet, man. It's the internet. Here's the thing: I think that these are the important conversations that Americans need to be having. That's why we do the show. That's why we talk to people. That's what all of this is.
But I just want to say one other thing. Just for the mere fact of me defending a position where I don't want to lump a whole group, I also would get attacked for just trying to have a common sense understanding and allow there to be nuances in the situations, right?
Well, they want you to take a position.
Right, they want you to divest on one side or the other, right?
I'll stand on one side of this one.
And I know which one you stand on, but like I can't subscribe to that camp, but I also can't subscribe to like the people who just want total replacement and like occupation of the West Bank. Like the two-state needs to happen, in my opinion, right?
And that's and here's the issue. We're talking about all this stuff. That is literally the U.S. government's agreed position, is that they want the two-state solution. We've wanted that for decades and decades and decades. We said that we would establish that. The problem is with all these governments and with all the citizens of these governments, and you talked about like not blaming like Israelis or Jews or whatever you're saying for the stuff the government does. I blame Americans. I blame myself for what we do, because we tolerate and we allow these systems that murder people, that starve people, that kill people, that kill ourselves.
And
so it's a big problem.
And I'll add one more thing. This will be my last point. Also, the fact that this movement has started to where, you know, it at first everyone was after October 7th on one end, and then after a while we saw what was going on. We're like, what the hell? It also allowed for there to be a movement on the Muslim side for people to also attach an agenda from that. And here's the thing. I have no hatred towards Muslims, but I do not like extremism. And I don't agree with everything that's in the Quran. I don't agree with everything that some things that are being practiced in Islam. And sometimes even some bad actors will take these situations and they'll stir the fire even more and hold their positions. Because there's the people who are, you can read the doctrine. Hamas had an actual doctrine. If you go read it, they say, we will annihilate every single person that is in this state, regardless of who they are, because that is our position. And it's an extreme position to have. And so what I'm saying is like,
who funded them?
Well, and
destroyed the PLO deliberately to make sure they were in power.
I'm telling you, they're all bad. And that is my conclusion to that. Just be careful is what I'm saying. You can go so far down the rabbit hole to where you fail to realize the distinction at certain points, and the lines get blurred between topics, discussions, and definitions. That is my position.
That's your take, and I think you gave like a pretty balanced argument there. I think there's a lot of people that agree with you. I think there's a lot of people that agree with me too, and a lot of people that are on various camps of this. Obviously, we're still in the figuring out stage and everything that's happening. It's only after history, after the decades pass, we'll see the truth. And I think the truth is going to reflect what I'm saying.
Anthony, I will address that too. This has happened since 1948. Do you know who I blame for this whole situation, Anthony? I blame the Europeans and the colonialism.
Well, you can't say Europeans, you got to say Britain.
Sorry, Britain. Yeah. Sorry. Britain and France and the colonialists for doing this whole situation. What they did during that time period is they had promised land to two different people. And when they found out that, you know, they couldn't make a deal, instead of Britain seeing the thing all the way through, because what Britain did was they took the entire region from whoever had conquered it before. I think it was the Ottoman Empire. They took it from the Ottoman Empire after they conquered that region. They promised the land to two different people, and they said, "Oh, well, this is a state for Jewish people now because they went through the Holocaust." Hold on. The problem is they arbitrarily cut up
some words in too.
No,
I'm entitled to that.
I want to I want to finish the whole thing in entirety, right? I'm not interrupting you. What I'm saying is they drew lines and they said, "Hey, we're going to carve it up this way." The Muslims said, "We don't like this deal." Jewish people, of course, were like, "We like this." Instead of fixing the problem and going all the way through, they took a step back and they just said, "Well, you guys just figure it out." And when you let two people who are also in their own right emotionally charged for their own particular reasons, and you let them duke it out, it's never going to be a good thing. And so the UN plus Britain and all of them are directly responsible because they had a responsibility to make sure that this actually got sorted out.
So, of course, they set it up, and I agree with that, and that's a huge problem. You have an area where people of all faiths, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, they're already living there, peacefully coexisting with each other. British mandated Palestine, everyone's living there. What do you think about ethno-states? And what do you think about their history of terrorism since 1948? Of course, the Nakba and all of it, the expulsion of 750.
I think it was terrible. I think
that's like the entire history of the country.
No, I know. What I do criticize Israel for is like when they went ahead and said, okay, well, since Britain has taken a step back, and they said, oh, well, we're just going to take land and we're going to take more than what was actually in the original deal. That was wrong. And of course, you're going to have...
All they've done is expand, and they want to build the greater Israel. And it's just like, the thing is, we can talk about it from the perspective of, like, you bring it to Muslims. You say, like, I'm not a fan of parts of the Quran, and I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you when it comes to that. I'm not a fan of places where they apply Old Testament genocide to, 2026.
Yeah,
so do you see what I am saying? You see why it's a problem, and why having an ethno-state, whether that's Iran or Israel, is an issue? Because you have to have separation of church and state. If they share our values, why are they trying to rebuild the third temple? Like, these things, they're provocations to the rest of the Muslim world. The Israelis don't care because they think they have the nuclear superpower behind them. They can do whatever they want. The problem is, there are protests. We've played the protests of people in the street saying, we don't want this, we don't want Netanyahu, we don't want genocide. We've played the Israeli protesters. That does exist, but there's also the polls, man, of the Amalek support and all of it. And it's disgusting.
I would say maybe I should actually pull up the research on what the polls that you're talking about. Because I actually never seen the polls.
The Pew poll. We've showed it a few times on the show.
I haven't seen them. But I'm not sitting here trying to argue that your position is wrong.
Litigate. And it's been a good topic. Let's get to the deep dive.
No. I know. Let's get to the Here's the thing. I think you'll find... if we actually peeled back and we talked about a lot of things, we actually agree on the bad aspects in itself. I also am in your camp in the sense that the wrong is wrong.
I think you're giving the elites a defense.
No, it's not the elite. It's not the elite. I'm talking about the citizens. I'm talking about the average person that does not.
Elites. They live in the capital. Like we're
average.
I'm talking. We go to war for them.
I'm not talking about people who are making decisions. I'm talking about the average person who doesn't.
People in the government. Do they have any accountability?
Come on, it's the same thing as
the opposition leader. The other guy that's running against Netanyahu says we need to attack Turkey next. What do you think of that? Is that indicative of a societal problem?
It is the same reason we voted for Trump, right?
Sure.
And also bad. And he went in and took us to war, and it wasn't on our own vote of what we wanted to.
So because two things are wrong, that makes them good?
I didn't say that makes the government good. You need to hear my distinction.
It's evil.
It's not about the people. It's about the government and the people that are making decisions.
Vote for the government.
Yeah, that's the same. That's exactly going back to my original point. We voted for Trump, but we do not support.
They're evil, and we're evil too. And that's my argument.
But that doesn't make us evil, is what I'm saying. No,
we tolerate genocide.
No. I'm saying just
murder. They laugh about it. The IDF soldiers, they clear the kibbutzes and then they wear the laundry of the women they kill.
I'm saying that there are people that do support those things. Just like we have people who are, Trump is my buddy. If he's in a fight, I'm in a fight.
Sure.
Those people will exist in every single camp. I'm saying that as the independent people, which do exist, and more sensible people, those exist also there. We cannot deny that.
You can point to a transformation from an anti-colonial project into a true colonial project with America. From Israel, it's been a colonial project from the very beginning. That is the problem. It is a colonial expansionist mindset where they believe they have the right to take land. And the average citizen there does believe that.
I don't
Pull up
like
the Penn State poll.
I do not like the fact that now...
Pull it up.
Swift is saying, Tim, we are evil, bro. I'm not evil.
We're not.
I'm not an evil person. He's not an evil person. We voted.
Are evil.
We voted. We voted for somebody.
Kill.
We voted for somebody based off of the most information that we had. We were all propagandized to a certain extent to think that Trump was going to be the guy that was going to make the right decisions. When he's in power, we have no say over that because he's already elected in.
Do we not tell the audience all the time that we have to take accountability as a country for what we've done?
I'm okay with taking accountability for a change, but that doesn't mean that you go black pill and you go to the other extreme and say that you are an evil person. That's not how. You should.
When do they ever take accountability for what they've done?
There are Jewish people that speak out against the government, is what I'm saying. There are people that are sensible that realize, hey, this is not conducive.
Sure, but it's a minority. That's the problem.
That's what people think in certain circumstances of us in certain aspects.
There's not a poll that shows 62% of Americans support genocide.
I don't know how much and what their news looks like and who's propagandized by what.
Read her.
I refuse to lump every single person under the same umbrella when there's clear distinctions. It's just the same way like people will be like, oh, you're a Democrat now because you have these positions. No. I have my own thing. And people who don't even live in Israel, it went past Israel, by the way. It went to all Jews around the world. It went to Jews here in America. Do you know how many people I know are Jewish and have nothing to do with Israel, have nothing to do with support? They love America, but are lumped into that umbrella too?
I mean,
that's the key distinction here.
It's a victimhood narrative of like, we're always the victim, so we can never be criticized.
Who's always the victim?
Well, we're a group that's persecuted over history, and because of our state doing evil things, we're going to be persecuted because people don't like us because we're Jewish. That's essentially the argument. It's like our state, our ethno-religious state, if we don't subscribe to that, I totally agree. But if you subscribe to it and you think that it needs to be Greater Israel, then I think you're evil. I think Greater Israel Project is evil. Do you think they should take Saudi Arabia,
no, I don't
Jordan, Lebanon?
No,
this is
I don't.
An evil. They wear the patch.
And that is why I'm not arguing for that position.
Okay.
That's the distinction here. I never said I want a Greater Israel and for them to take more land. They were wrong back in 1948 and 1949
now.
When they took more than what they were supposed to.
They're wrong all the time.
No, they're wrong now at the same time, but that's also a decision that's being made at the higher levels. What I'm saying is that Jewish and Israeli, those are two different. Jewish is an ethnicity at this point. Israeli is a citizenship.
But Netanyahu is the greatest purveyor of anti-Semitism because the Zionist project, and why I'm so anti-Zionist, it's the marriage of the Jewish identity to the modern state of Israel.
And that's fine. I'm not saying
that's the problem.
I'm not saying that like you have to be like pro-Zionist and that you have to want the Jewish Greater Israel, whatever the fuck it is. I'm saying that the problem what I'm saying is it's getting out of hand. Now you have Dan Bilzerian who's literally calling on killing people. And there's some freaking crazy people that will actually listen to those positions.
I think that's promoted by the state to drive up anti-Semitism, to drive up support for Israel, because, of course, Israel is the only place where you're safe from the anti-Semitism. Do you see how that circle forms? See how that's a feedback loop? There's anti-Semitism. Israel's the only place that protects Jews. There's anti-Semitism. Got to give them more money. And over and over again.
And I also agree with the fact that it should not be every single criticism gets lumped under anti-Semitism. That's also a clear position that I have.
Let me make a distinction here. So what you're saying, and I do think that you're right, that we agree on way more than we disagree with here. And I think the bone of contention is saying that, like, my problem is the anti-Semitism argument. When I hear someone say, oh, like someone was just anti-Semitic to me, and then they go, well, you know, I told them that the Gaza people should starve. That's what Randy Fine says. He says, you're anti-Semitic to me if you make a flyer that says I'm a bad person. So he passed a law in Florida to where that's a hate crime now. You get 2 years in prison.
Well, for me, I'm not even talking about the situations. I'm talking about like the average person that I have also come into contact where they just literally get attacked for just being Jewish and have no position of anything.
Nobody's a fan of that.
And that is my position here.
I don't like the people that hide behind like, oh, I'm pro-Israel. Like Michael Savage goes, I'm pro-Israel, but the government. Well, maybe it's time that you're anti that government for real. And not just, the opposition party. How about total reform? How about two-state solution like you were talking about? You're not going to hear that. That's my position. We could go back and forth all day.
Yeah.
Let's do Hantavirus.
Let's do Hantavirus. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. So
What's going on? With
I got to pull out my laptop.
No, you're good.
here.
And this is why the show is so amazing. Is it's been a while since we've had one of these. Last week it was on abortion, but we have these passionate disagreements. We talk these things out, and obviously positions change and maybe mend and meld over time. People come to more information, but it really is about the audience hearing our various points and then making the distinction, doing the research for themselves, and then it's really up to them. Right? Because you made an argument, I made an argument. It's up to the listeners and viewers out there. That's what makes this show special. And now we got the rat virus is going to kill everybody, so none of it matters. So
okay,
get ready for
Wes,
COVID-20.
Give me a second. Just take us to the waiting room for like 2 seconds, and we'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, no, they should have kept them on the plague ship. I don't know why they took people off the boat. And it's really fucked up.
Take us to waiting room.
I've got probably the most tremendous, the most horrible virus you've ever seen before. I was on a Carnival cruise trying to find Epstein Island. I wasn't able to find Dr. Tim, what do I do?
Well, good sir. Well, I'm sorry. You just have to take this vaccine that we haven't tested.
Oh,
and,
we got another one of those? I remember when
So,
yeah, we'll talk about Hantavirus.
I'll talk about Hantavirus. The costumes are back, guys.
I got the Trump hair right, finally. Let's go.
Here it is. Okay. All right. So, Hantavirus. Everyone's freaking out about this one. I'm seeing all these mixed reviews. I had to look into this one because Rex and I were kind of just chatting about it. I'm like, are you sure about what's going on here?
Zoned out. Like, so you're going to wake me up because I don't know anything about it.
Right.
But I saw my dad talk about it. I was like, I don't want to listen to this. And I turned it off. So this is going to be the first time I've
here, folks, I'll just cut to the chase. Another shutdown, 2027.
Okay.
That's the conclusion.
Really?
Another pandemic. Nah, I'm just messing with you.
You're really all bad. Had me for a minute there.
Would have been a good distraction from the Epstein files. So, all right, let's talk about this. So, the cruise ship that made this cluster feel global. So, 3 people are dead.
We are trying not to curse.
Yes, we are.
Okay,
yes, we are.
Go ahead.
Yes, we are. Well, I mean, I saw some people are like, well, I really love you guys, but sometimes you guys swear too much.
I know, I'm really bad. I say the word rape way too much. It's
grape. Yeah, this is a family show, guys.
Exactly.
Well, I just also like I got so used to American Journal not swearing, so it just kind of easily carry over. All right, so 3 people are dead after the Hantavirus outbreak, right? So passengers are being monitored. You got health officials tracing the contacts. You got online people are already talking and asking the question, Rex, another pandemic.
Right, I've heard this.
What's gonna happen? And it's not to make fun because we all did go through a horrible experience. Like no one wants to go through a shutdown again. But you know, you can see why people go there. And so as the ship moves across countries, there's this deadly virus with like a 40% mortality rate. And officials are trying to calm people down. And you know, people are pretty jaded at this point. They're like, "Oh, you're trying to calm me down. I don't believe it anymore." Right. So
that's a reverse psychology.
Right. And so, you know, some viruses are brutal for people exposed. But the problem is they don't always like actually spread past that circle of the original one. Right. And so there are also other mild illnesses where, you know, they're actually moving quite quickly. So let's look at this picture here. And we're going to talk about the route of the cruise just to kind of break it down for you guys of like what's happened here. And let me pull this up too so that we can see it on
the mouse.
Let's pull it up on our end too.
Big, beautiful mouse. Mouse like you've never seen before. I have a mouse for my computer. It's made out of gold. They said, Donald, can you believe how much money we spent getting this? I said, with all the money we've saved from the tariffs, it's not a problem.
Hanta. Okay, here we go. So we've got, which one is it? Cruise ship route. All right, so this is what we're looking at. So,
they went to Chile.
They came from the very tip of Argentina. So this is where it starts. It starts from Argentina. April 6th, you've got this first passenger, which is a 70-year-old man who falls ill. Okay, and then this passenger dies literally 5 days later.
Do they give you a burial at sea?
I don't
just release your body. I'm just die on a Carnival cruise. They're like, we gave you a Viking funeral.
That's okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, they probably hold on to the body because they want to study him. So actually, no. Yeah. So the body was removed on the 24th at St. Helen. What is that? So there was a 16
island.
Oh yeah. St. Helen, and then the passenger wife leaves and flies to South America. And then she dies on April 26th. And so, you know, she tests for the same thing, which is crazy, right? So then April 27th, there's a second passenger that falls ill, and he's evacuated to South Africa. And then there's also the positive test there. Then you got May 2nd, there's a German woman who shows up with symptoms, and she dies on the ship. And then the last one is the ship arrives at Cape Verde, and the WHO is reacting to suspected hantavirus outbreak on the ship for people who are now ill. So this is kind of like the timeline of what you're seeing here. And most people hear outbreak, they picture COVID, cough, breath, you know, crowd, airports, offices, cities.
What are the symptoms?
Right. And so hantavirus usually starts somewhere completely different. It starts from rodents, as you may have seen. And so people can get infected through rodent urine, droppings, saliva, or dust contaminated by that material. And then the classic danger zone is the cabin, the shed, the storage room, the enclosed space.
My garage right now. My garage right now. I have a rat problem.
Where the infected material gets stirred up. So, you know, for the people who are exposed, the hantavirus can be terrifying. But like as a pandemic threat, most hantaviruses have a major weakness, and that's because they move poorly through crowds. And so but the problem is there's different types of hantaviruses.
Rupert fucked up our camera. Oh, sorry.
Did he?
Yeah, he messed it up. He bumped it. We're fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
I just noticed.
Problem is this one's just a little different. Okay. This one has the Andes virus. Okay. And this is the one that's causing people like all this mass hysteria, because this is the one that's the unusual hantavirus that can sometimes pass from one person to another. And so, you know, this also sounds scary, and maybe we should be concerned. But as I have been researching, the person-to-person spread can happen through different ways, okay? So normally this is like a usually close prolonged contact with somebody who's already been sick. So this makes sense why his wife would have died, right? And then
it is scary to see like dead. That is like that's pretty tough.
Right. But I mean, this is a very different risk when you're talking about a virus moving silently through like crowded public spaces.
How long were they on this ship?
I don't know the exact.
We should look that up.
It's April 1st to May 3rd. So
okay, so
this is the whole.
And the
trip
incubation period is about a month,
Mhm.
right? So I guess they got it really quick.
Well, he could have
carried it.
He could have carried it. Like he already contracted it before he went back before he actually went on to the ship, right? That's how he would have gotten it because of the fact that he got it from whatever rodent that was in this region.
Well, at least they know who the patient zero is. I didn't know that for COVID. Patient zero is probably Bill Gates. So.
Wuhan.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's play this video. Wes, it's video number 5. And so it's actually the scientist who we're talking about Hantavirus. And he gives a better explanation.
Repost the stream, guys. Please repost the stream.
Yes, please repost.
We haven't said this in a while. Subscribe to Gray Area Talks on Rumble, on YouTube. We love it. Truism Tim on X as well. If you're watching on my profile, if you don't follow Tim, he's linked in my profile. I'm linked in his. Gray Area Talks for X is also linked in both of our profiles. Please support the show. Really giving you a deep dive, but go ahead.
Okay, so we're going to play this video. Go ahead, Wes.
This week, we've seen a developing investigation into a cluster, a very unusual cluster of cases of a certain type of hantavirus. It's called an Andes virus. It's a hantavirus from South America. And it's the one type of hantavirus that scientists suspect may be able to spread from person to person.
In previous outbreaks, there has been instances of human-to-human transmission, mainly among close contacts, either providing clinical care or people who have had close physical contact. And we believe that's happening and has happened in the case here on the ship as well.
For the decades that scientists have known about hantavirus, they've almost always believed that the only way you can get it is from being in contact with the droppings, the dried urine of mice or other rodents. Different viruses have different abilities to spread. Some, like measles, can spread like wildfire. Others are harder to spread. You have to be in very close contact with someone who's very sick, who has a lot of symptoms. This hantavirus, if it's spreading from person to person, seems to be in that latter camp. Health officials say the general public does not need to be worried about hantavirus. It's still rare. This is not the next pandemic. This is not the next epidemic. This is a cluster of cases, a very unusual situation that is not expected to spread its tentacles across the world. Investigators are still nailing down exactly what's going on. They're still doing genomic sequencing to understand if there's mutations. They're still looking at the cases and when they happened and what exposures they had. There's still a lot of stuff to be ironed out, but it's kind of a turning point in the scientific discussion about whether this is a virus that can spread among people.
First shirt idea was...
Yeah, I had a shirt idea. Sorry to distract.
I totally forgot about it.
Yeah, if someone remembers my first shirt idea, because someone referenced the second one, I want to write it down. I forgot to. But so, who gets on a plague ship? Because I grew up going on cruises, right? I don't think I'd go on a cruise again. We were cruise people.
I love cruises.
Yeah.
I actually still went on a cruise like immediately after COVID. Like
Carnival, Royal Caribbean.
Yeah, buddy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. Like, when you hear about these situations, like the human to human transmission sounds like one clear category, but it's actually kind of like different, as he was talking about. So like COVID spreads between people. You've got Ebola that spreads between people. And like you have now the Andes virus or hantavirus, which also spreads through people, but it's the same phrase, but it's different mechanisms for that spreading. So COVID moved through normal life. You had indoor air, conversations, workday travel, all those things, people who felt fine enough to keep going. And then Ebola was direct through like contact of blood, bodily fluids, contaminated fluids, and burial exposure.
And remember the freak out on that.
Yeah, I've got stuff.
Oh, dude.
I went down the rabbit hole because like I started to remember all the previous ones that we got, fear-mongered into, right? Yeah. And so the Andes virus is usually linked through, the close contact, prolonged contact with somebody who's already sick. And so, the public tends to ask like, how deadly is it? So for a pandemic risk, the bigger question would be like, how efficiently can it move? Because that's actually the more important question than just the mortality rate. So a death rate alone cannot create a pandemic. A virus that makes people visibly sick fast leaves clues. And so people notice it and doctors can isolate it, and then contact, tracers have a clear path to actually follow for these events, right? So, it can still be devastating, but it actually has a hard time moving quietly. And so, that is the reason. Yeah, you can put a stop to it. That's why the pandemic risk becomes a lot less likely in this scenario.
With COVID, the real situation you had was that for old people that were out of shape specifically, there was like a 3 to 5% or like 1%, whatever it was, mortality rate. And that was a big problem. And so essentially with COVID is you have something where, it simulates kind of pneumonia in you, where you have it for a while, you don't know you have it, all of a sudden you can't breathe, right? And then you go to the hospital, they put you on a ventilator, and then you die. But the whole reason they pushed the vaccine on people, what they told you was, hey, this is going to stop transmission. It may not stop total severity of you getting it, but it's going to stop you giving it to other people. And that's why, like, you look at like a bacteria versus a virus mutates so much that it's a lot easier to transmit. So the hanta being a virus and not a bacteria is very scary, because maybe it did mutate and jump from the animal to the human to where the human can spread it as well.
Yeah.
That's a valid concern.
That is a valid concern. That's why I kind of wanted to cover some of these other viruses that happen, because we've had several of these scares. Yeah, you guys in your comments sometimes.
Yeah, y'all are having fun out there. Y'all are having fun out there. Yeah, it didn't come from banging a pangolin or having sex with a bat at a wet market. That's not where COVID came from. COVID came from the Wuhan virus.
Yeah, it literally came from an actual lab.
Coronavirus.
Yeah, they were.
And they had it. Like, there's like, we had a guy that escaped, and he fucked things up for everybody.
Right.
So talk about the other viruses.
Right. So now we got to think about, okay, like how easy does it spread? When does it spread? Can people pass it on when they feel sick? Can mild cases keep walking around? Can they travel through normal life without people realizing? And so that kind of explains why COVID was a lot different, and you were kind of hitting on that. So the COVID, had like this dangerous mix, essentially. And so it could spread through ordinary behavior. You just go into a restaurant, you're just hanging with your family, workplaces, indoors.
You're breathing, you're bad.
Mm-hmm. And so, people could pass it along before the symptoms actually showed. That's what made COVID different. We can actually show this picture. Go ahead and pull that up, Wes, of the contrast between the regular flu and COVID, because the symptoms do start pretty much the same.
What is this graph of?
Pull this up. Zoom in on that for people so that they can see a little bit. Sorry.
I don't know how much I believe
I would
stats.
I would say take this with a very big grain of salt. Okay. They didn't really have really good charts or data.
Well,
that's current.
The interesting thing that I'll point out, and I want you to monologue and explain it to people, is you can look at flu deaths from 2020, 2021. They basically had none. They didn't count them. Everybody had flu, also had COVID. So,
and that's why I could only find charts and data from 2020. But this is just to give you perspective of why we were panicking, because what we saw at the early rate, however they were calculating this.
This is why
COVID deserves its own deep dive, and I won't do this here because you go down the rabbit hole and it's a whole topic in itself. But just understand, this is what the concern was like you had a higher mortality rate.
This was the rationale for telling people we had to lock
and you had the same amount of contagious ability and it moving around. Here's the thing. This is a theory of mine. I don't know if this is actually true. What I think is maybe the earliest strain of COVID was more deadly than the later strain. And
Delta was the worst.
Right.
I think that's widely known. And then what they said was that it mutated into Omicron, which was far more transmissible and basically so mild that when you get it, you don't get it.
Right. So I feel like the very beginning, before we noticed it, maybe there was some legitimacy to the severity.
I got super sick in 2020 at the beginning of 2020. And they say, according to Red Cross blood samples, that it was around in like late 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So like we got to do a whole COVID review.
We do have to do a whole COVID.
That's not even a deep dive. That's like a whole show.
That's a whole show. Yeah. I'm not even claiming to be an expert because I haven't looked into this enough. But again, you see the numbers. They're saying, well, Granny at 85 plus 10.4%. I mean, that makes sense. And no one's surviving at that age with all of the problems.
They cooked the books, and they had people that like, you diabetes, 400 pounds, you die, and they say you died of COVID. Well, did you die of COVID, or did you die because you were like a piece of like poo-poo? Like that's interesting.
Yeah,
question.
because of the fact that you were already almost there.
And we are like one of the most, if not the most unhealthy country on the face of the earth.
That also.
That's also a huge, not pun intended.
You got the Wallies walking around.
Yeah,
and,
the Walrus Army.
Yeah. So now, I also had to think about Ebola, because do you remember when Ebola came out and how scary that was?
Obama was like, let me be clear, we are okay. But people were really
they were really panicked. Like it was a serious issue, and so like hospitals were overwhelmed, and all these things happened. So let's go ahead and play that video, Wes, of what Ebola looked like at the time, and I believe it started in Africa, and then it kind of made its way around different parts of the world. But it was a very big issue.
This thing's
people
so
didn't understand.
Oh, this thing's so itchy.
Trump's gone.
Oh.
Okay, so let's go ahead and play this from the 0-minute mark.
See, hair, even fake hair, really does make you look better. Yeah. That's the problem. It's like the wig is like the black Spider-Man outfit.
Outside the John F. Kennedy Hospital in Monrovia, Liberia, 20-year-old Ibaga Stiwo is sick. His parents wait beside him. All signs point to the late stages of Ebola, the deadly virus that's killed more than 2,300 across West Africa.
He just vomiting, he toiling, he eat, he vomit. Don't gotta get a paper back.
As sick as he is, he won't be allowed inside. The largest hospital in the nation, and many others just like it, are completely full.
But I want to tell you, any hospital now will go to the same month. They say we should wait, the doctor should come.
This is Ben C. Solomon in Monrovia, Liberia. This city of 1.5 million is the first major metropolitan area to face an Ebola outbreak since the virus was discovered in 1976. Hundreds have died here since the outbreak began in May. And the World Health Organization expects thousands of new cases in the coming weeks. With a limited number of hospital beds and personnel to treat the sick, many of the infected are left to die at the hospital gates.
It's heartbreaking. There's nothing I can do about it because I have no space, I don't have the capacity.
Local and foreign-run treatment centers alike are unable to cope with the surge. Here at the Doctors Without Borders Treatment Center, they too are at capacity.
What we're looking at here is about 300.
So your life could be a lot worse, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Your life could be a lot worse. You could be that guy on the ground dying of Ebola.
Yeah, that's actually when I was watching that video. That one's the hit me the most. I was like, "Jeez," because you never really like see that stuff on your day-to-day life.
No,
and you don't really think about it because, despite everything, we have a relatively healthy system in terms of the cleanliness.
Well,
like we do a lot here in terms of like sanitization. That's why the health expectancy is like much longer, even if people are like 400 pounds
we had
overweight.
A very brief period in this country where we truly had like space age technology compared to everybody else post World War II. And we eradicated so many parasites and so many nasty organisms and things that used to be here, like the screwworm and many others.
Right.
And it's like you're saying, like, think about malaria. We don't have malaria here.
Right. We also cured things like polio.
Sure.
Like, imagine eradicating an entire
disease
forever.
Yeah. That's serious.
That's the stuff that I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That's
very
insane.
impressive.
Very impressive.
Yeah, like I always reference the screwworm. They eliminated the screwworm all the way down to the Darien Gap. They cleared out Central America. They were like, we are not. That's why I look at the ticks. I'm like, you're next.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to advocate for. But I mean, yeah. So like, you could be that guy. Anybody could be that guy. Like, you're sick, you're dying, you're in pain, and that's a reality for like really most of the people around the world. Like, you're not going to get a doctor. Hospital's full. And the hospital looks like a shed.
Also, not even just that. I have a buddy of mine who I do business with. He's a Canadian.
Okay.
He was telling me, you know, as much as we complain about our healthcare system here, he said you guys actually have it better than us.
You wait 2 years.
Yeah, just to get an MRI, like in just basic care for certain things, you know, he had to wait like 6 months.
But it sounds to me like your buddy's a complainer because they'll just kill you if you have a problem. It's called medical assistance in dying, called MAID. So
yes, and
that's their healthcare.
And it's illegal in Canada for anyone to have any type of private healthcare, and there's no private hospitals. So when you socialize everything, you don't have the best. So we've covered that at certain points, not to get in the weeds. There are some positives, but there's also some negatives because there's some people who did some very bad things with the pricing.
The thing I think we can come together on our positions on is that like things are mixed, things are gray. Like we already live in a mixed economy and like in stuff like this. So like we look at the total socialism in Canada, it's obviously not a good thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, capitalism is good at certain points, just when it's not a monopoly, right?
True. That's a good point.
So now we talked about that. And so like with Ebola, you could actually track it from person to person to person, which made it easier for them to stop. But a lot of people did die from Ebola.
Sure.
Before they were able to crack down on it.
I think it was in Texas at some point. I think it was here.
Yes, it was. Wait, was it?
I remember this back in the day.
I think
something
so.
like that. Like someone flew on a plane and then they got in trouble.
It was either in I think it made its way to Canada. I mean, Mexico.
Ooh,
if I'm not
look up Texas Ebola.
Ebola
in Texas. I knew it.
Okay.
I knew it. Ebola was in Texas in 2014. The first patient diagnosed with Ebola was Thomas Eric Duncan. He was diagnosed in Dallas, Texas, and he died. It's bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
It'll kill you. I think it's like 40%.
What is
mortality rate?
What is Ebola's
mortality rate? Yeah. I think it's like 40, 50%. It's got to be high.
Woo!
25 to 90% with an average of approximately 50%.
And it says recent data indicates pool averaged a rate of 60% between 76 to 2022.
You got to be really tough to survive.
I bet you don't even.
I bet
you. I was going to say you probably don't even come out all right after all of that.
No, you're probably never the same. And the thing is, it causes like bleeding, like from like various like mucosal tissues, also like under your fingernails and stuff like that.
Dude, it's a terrible way to go out.
Probably one of the worst.
Mm-hmm. So now you remember this one, swine flu, right?
Sure, we talk about that.
Swine flu. I remember when swine flu came out. That was the one that they made seem like COVID.
You're right.
Right? They were talking a big game about swine flu. They sat us down in school and they were like, "Listen, kids, you're screwed. Be careful."
You're older than me, so I didn't receive that treatment.
Oh,
yeah, I didn't receive that.
Yeah, this was what year was that?
You're probably like if I was in elementary, you're in middle.
4 years.
Like that.
Yeah, I was in middle school.
Yeah, exactly.
I was in middle school. They sat us all down and they basically told us like, "You're cooked." That's
over.
That's what they said to like me as like a fifth grader.
Nice
they were
children.
like, "Yeah, just clean your hands, wash your hands." It was a big deal. So the swine flu was declared a pandemic because it was spread globally.
Right.
And so, you know, the word pandemic means global spread. So, I mean, you can play on words there. Let's go ahead and play this video on swine flu. Cue number 7. And we're going to play it from a 0-minute mark. Go ahead and play that. Is this the one on swine flu?
I'm doing a doodle.
Yeah, but you know, I vividly remember swine flu. I was genuinely scared at this time period.
I was scared of the Ebola. I remember that. But that's because I was old enough to be scared of it. You know, I was like 12 or whatever, or 11. So
yeah, they always make it seem like you're gonna die, though.
Yes.
It's this fear monger, and we're gonna get into that, by the way. But this is just me coming to a realization. Some stuff is serious, but some things are not as serious.
Oh, well,
as
they like to use it as a mechanism to control people, Tim.
Yeah, we saw
like even
COVID.
at the young age, they try to make like, oh, I got to do what the government says. You know, that's what that is. So,
all right, let's go ahead and play this clip real quick.
The World Health Organization has declared a swine flu pandemic as the disease continues to spread around the world.
We are all in this together, and we will all get through this together.
While cases in the U.S. have abated since the initial outbreaks months ago, globally, the number of known infections has climbed to close to 30,000, with more than 140 deaths. Just this week, Hong Kong ordered all kindergartens and primary schools closed for 2 weeks as it deals with positive tests. The Philippines, China, and the Palestinian territories are also dealing with outbreaks. And it's the poorer countries the WHO says it is worried about.
Influenza pandemics, whether more.
Gaza can't catch a break, dude. They got swine flu. Shit.
Smoked.
Dude, that's bad.
Yeah. So, like, you know, with the swine flu, it moved pretty fast, honestly, and officials took it serious. And some schools closed, countries were preparing for second waves, and then kind of like the emotional temperature changed because many of the cases looked mild, and then per case severity became lower, and then, you know, only the worst were like the early fears of whatever it was. And so, you know, the swine flu still caused real illness, real deaths, but I mean, again, it goes back to that same thing. Like, you know, the spread of it matters. How quickly is it going to spread? How severe is it? And I don't know this for a fact. I might be skipping ahead of myself, but we were kind of the whole reason why we got to this discussion is it's like, you know, the higher the mortality rate on some of these viruses, it almost seems like the contagious rate, as well as the ability for it to actually move around the population, seems to be lower in certain aspects. And it's almost like a beauty of nature because, well, there's actually an exception to that rule where you do get a perfect combination. And you've heard of like the Black Plague, right?
Sure.
This is the mother of everything. But before that, let's pull up this image.
It's cured now. We have some treatment.
Let's pull up this image before we go to that image of the virus. This one is going to show you kind of all of the viruses over time. It's super hard to see up close.
Got the Black Death.
Okay, I'm pulling it up on our
Got
end.
smallpox. The Black Death at 200 million. You got smallpox, 56 million.
Shit.
Spanish flu at
Okay, so this is the history. So you've got the plague,
Antonine plague, plague Justinian, Japanese smallpox epidemic,
Dang.
Black Death, smallpox, 17th century Great Plagues, 18th century Great Plagues, cholera. That's what comes from the water, makes you real sick. That's 1 million dead, 1817, 1923. The third plague, 1855, 15th,
12 million.
Dude. Yellow fever, 150K. Spanish flu, 40 to 50 million. Russian flu, 1 million. Asian flu, 1.1. Hong Kong, 1. HIV, 25, 35 million. SARS, Ebola, swine flu, 200K. All right, so that's where
COVID, they said 6.9 million. And that's because they say WHO officially declared COVID-19
a pandemic in March.
March of 20. So, very interesting. Oh, this is the highest to lowest death toll. Okay, this is good. This is good here. Okay, so yeah, the Black Death, just look how big this is, by the way, guys.
Oh, it's saying 6.9 million people got killed by COVID, maybe
Yes.
worldwide. Yeah.
That's what it's saying worldwide. But like you just see COVID, that was our Black Swan event because we actually lived through it. Spanish flu was actually pretty bad.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah. I mean, and that's like
100
100 years ago. So we just had our own version of the Spanish flu, but thank God we didn't experience that. So now let's go and play the video. Start it from the 5-minute, 2-second mark, Wes. This made me realize how lucky we are to be born today. And just watch, bear with us on this video. This is very good. Pay attention.
Plague for a while, the Mongol army camped outside got the idea to begin catapulting their infected corpses over the city walls in an early attempt at biological warfare. The residents of Kaffa began falling victim to the plague as well, and the Genoese merchants decided to just call it quits and escaped on their ships back to Italy. Unknowingly to them, however, they had brought the infected rats and fleas with them on their ships, which were the seeds that would sow the worst pandemic ever in all of human history. After the rats got off the ships in Sicily and Genoa, the plague exploded all across Italy and quickly spread along trade routes across the entire Mediterranean and Europe. So between 1347 and 1351, the plague ravaged most of the European continent. In just these 5 years, it's estimated that as much as 60% of the population of the European continent died. But some areas were hit harder than others. Mediterranean regions like Italy, France, and Spain saw as much as 75%.
Can you even imagine that?
No. Well, it's just an empty
75%.
I mean, there's stories of like where they would like find a girl and she'd been on an island with like animals for like, you know, a decade. You know, like I mean,
really?
Yeah, Wasteland, dude. It's like think about Fallout. They should do a Fallout show where it's like the Black Plague. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that's
just to see like
what idea, Larry Ellison?
Just to see what it was like. They do a whole reenactment of it.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like it's literally that was like medieval Fallout.
Unreal. Okay, let's go back to the clip. 75%, guys.
Of their populations dying. 70% of England's population died out, 60% of Norway's, and 20% of Germany's. Paris and London both lost half of their population.
Okay, here's one thing I want you guys to understand about these numbers. In evolution terms, literally you wiped out generations that will never exist today.
Yeah, it's a bottleneck event.
So whatever like you guys watching, whatever we're descendants of, survived this whole situation, and you were just like the lucky few and your lineage survived.
True.
Like 75%, 70%
world.
Like that's we can't even fathom
different history, different historical figures, different projection of math, science, art, all of it. And that's why it's called the Dark Ages, is because you had things like this happen.
Right. And they had a whole economy, by the way. In the 1300s, they were still kind of we were civilized.
They were building up, and the reason why it's called, like, point to the plague of Justinian and stuff, is like plagues and events like this helped hasten the fall of like the old European Roman order. So it's very important to point out to people and to understand is like we lost so much history, so much art, so much everything during.
Yeah, man.
It's like, what do you do when no one's alive and the building burns?
That's so true.
So like we don't even know what happened.
Yeah,
truly.
Okay, go back to the video.
Populations. And Florence lost so many people that they didn't recover their population back until the 1800s. But other areas of Europe were almost never even touched by the plague, like Poland, most of Hungary, and Belgium. It's unclear why exactly the plague varied so greatly in intensity across the continent, but within just 5 years, 6 out of every 10 people living on the continent beforehand was dead. The Black Death, as it became to be known, also heavily afflicted the Middle East, where approximately 1 out of every 3 people died in that same 5-year time frame as well. It's believed that in just this 5-year length of time, the bubonic plague may have killed as many as 200 million people across Eurasia, which is absolutely staggering when you remember that the entire world population prior to the pandemic was only 475 million people. That means that it's possible that around 42% of the entire human population of the world died within just a few years from a single disease. To put into perspective how absolutely earth-shattering and cataclysmic it was for the time, that would be exactly like if a disease wiped out 3.15 billion people today in just a few years. It would irrevocably change the world forever, just like the Black Death did in the 14th century and like the First Plague did in the 6th century. In this case, the Black Death wiped out most of the people living in Europe.
So, you know, the reason why I went down this rabbit hole, well, there's 2 parts, right? Like the first part is like, okay, is there legitimacy to like when we talk about like these viruses and the Hantavirus and all those things? And, you know, one thing says next pandemic and the other one just says fear mongering. And the thing is like, you should take viruses seriously, but social media really does have a way of like extrapolating things out worse than they actually
Do you
would.
remember in 2020 when all those videos were coming out in China of like the people on the train with the blood and like vomiting up the blood and all that was bullshit because we know COVID doesn't do that, right? But like everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is going to come here and kill everybody.
Right.
But and that's the thing about like when you have like a knowledge gap and when the government isn't telling you the truth about these things, Like we should have a government that helps and protects us from stuff like this, not one that uses a crisis for benefit.
Right.
And that's the problem.
And the other thing that, like, why I'm covering this, I think I'm going to be done after this.
No, you're good. You're good.
The only reason why we don't have another Black Plague situation is because technology has advanced. And that is why you will see me always be like, as much as I'm like, I look out for people and I care about the fact that, like, you know, I don't want people to lose jobs, those types of things. I still am pro technology in the sense of pushing humanity forward so that way we don't have these cataclysmic events.
You get the Black Plague now, you can get treated for it and get cured for it. We have the treatment. And the reason why it's called the Black Plague, it's not a racism thing or anything like that. It gives you black spots.
It turns you black.
Yeah, it gives you giant black spots. And then you get, like, after, like, we're on the deathbed, you get the N-word pass because you're all the way black.
All the way black. Yeah, but so what were you saying before that? You were saying...
Well, I was just saying, like, pointing at 2020, looking at what happened in China with, like, you can't tell me, I'm not saying you're telling me that you can't tell me this, but, like, anybody out there, you can't tell me that you didn't see the videos of the people in China, like, coughing up the blood on the train. People are freaking out, like, I got to get off the train. And I don't know who cooked that up, whether that was the Chinese, whether that was CIA, whatever it was, but that was what inspired people to have that kind of like Black Death response. Because that's what people thought about COVID. It's like literally, like in Texas here, I could still go anywhere, do whatever. It was fine. But the world was empty for like 6 months. Like people did not go outside. And I think to not go outside, you got to have a legitimate reason. And like we just showed a legitimate reason.
That's a legitimate reason.
In the Black Death.
But I also feel like that the Black Plague also spread so much because people had no idea what to do. And also like hygiene was not the same as it is today.
They thought God was mad at them or something. And they were like, oh, like we got all these like mice running around. That's not a problem.
Right.
You know, it's like that's kind of the issue.
So now the last thing I'm going to show you guys is the countries that are best and worst prepared for a pandemic if it ever happened again.
Yeah, Africa's not doing too hot. They got a bit of a problem with the sickness.
So this is kind of what you would expect, right? Like first world countries, which legally or technically we don't have those anymore. Somehow somebody overwrote that and said well, you're not allowed to say first, second, or third world.
I'm gonna keep saying that because we can say that forever.
Forever, right?
Literally forever.
I don't know. Maybe that was like a liberal push or something like that. I have no idea. So, you know, United States, you know, Canada, Europe, looking pretty good. This is what I expect. South America, not so hot. Africa, cooked. Middle East, cooked.
Bangladesh has a problem.
Yeah. And Russia, I actually, you know what, I would say Russia's not as developed as you would think in certain aspects.
No, but Russia, India, China, they have medical. So
they do.
They have medical, but they have so many.
But they have so many people.
Especially China and India.
China and India, yeah. Who's worse prepared? North Korea. North Korea, how are they? Well, maybe, but they just shut down the whole thing, so no one had COVID.
Kim Jong-un's COVID mask is just having someone in front of him. Like, you stand in front of me, you catch it, not me. His human body shield, his body armor.
Oh man, they put North Korea next to Somalia and Yemen. That's trash.
That's a bad list. There.
Hey, USA, we're number one.
And that's based on 6 pillars of health security, prevention, detection, response, health, norms, and risks.
So,
okay.
We're done with this, but
I guess
you guys,
in North Korea, you can't fight the virus because you don't have food.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the problem. You're resilient enough because you're not being
also,
fed.
they don't have technological advancements because they're 1, sanctioned, 2, they don't trade with anybody.
And it all goes to the military.
Yeah.
So
Hantavirus is probably a nothing burger, let's be honest, guys, but I digress.
We'll keep monitoring the situation as we always do. We really appreciate y'all watching the show tonight. Wes, can we throw up GoPrimalCore.com? Because I want to show people. We got over 1,000 people in here. We've got really cool supplement products for you. You all know about ashwagandha. It's incredible. If you're already taking it, you should take it from us. We've also got this Elemental Drive formula, which is nootropic, like positive hormonal, boosts energy, enzymatic processes. Go ahead and show the bundle there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't mind showing the bundle there.
Elemental Drive is selling like hotcakes, guys.
Yeah, Elemental Drive is doing great. People are really enjoying the formula, saying it's giving them that positive energy. Here's the thing. These are natural formulations. Tim is very much so clean cut and very cognizant of everything, especially after COVID you put in your body.
I realized why I didn't have as much energy. And I'm also going to be upping my dosage to 2.
Sure.
Of the elemental drive. Magnesium and some of these other ingredients were good for, you know, the mitochondrial health. And I understand when you say mitochondrial and like ATP, but I didn't really quite understand. It literally is like my engine of energy throughout the day.
Right. Well, let's break it down. Right. So mitochondrial health is key to all metabolic and physical health throughout the body. As we get older, our mitochondrial efficiency goes down. You start to develop these things called senescent cells due to inefficient cell processes.
And not to interrupt you.
No, sure. Go ahead.
I actually have been feeling the difference. I'm 27 now. When I was like 23, 24, I didn't have most of the problems that I do now. I hate father time is
after 25.
25, it really starts going downhill.
Yeah,
I know.
Crashing out while I still can.
Yeah, so I know you guys are like, oh, you're 27, you're complaining. Look, I feel a big difference from when I was 22, 23. So he's right.
No, absolutely. And the thing you got to keep in mind, these are all natural ingredients. This is everything in its optimal form, like the KSM 66 ashwagandha. That's why we can make the claims that we are making, because we use the same dose. It's used in all the top studies. And if you just go to Elemental Drive again really quick, and I want to read this to people. This is what you have to understand, because you're taking like a men's multivitamin. Elemental Drive, it's great for men and women, but particularly good for men, let me tell you. The thing is, you're not taking magnesium bisglycinate. You're taking like a magnesium stearate. You're taking a magnesium oxide. We've got the correct form. You take zinc, you're probably taking zinc oxide. We got zinc picolinate, highly absorbable, unlike the other ones, 25 milligrams. Boron is boron citrate, elevates free testosterone. Selenium is selenium methionine, 125, I think that's micrograms, 227%. Copper to balance out the zinc. Here's the thing. People know about zinc. They know how amazing it is for your body. The thing is, when you supplement heavily with zinc without supplementing with copper in the ideal ratio, you're going to get an imbalance. And that positive effect could turn into a negative effect really quick. So if you want to take a zinc that actually has the balance of the copper, you can take this alongside your vitamin D3, your magnesium, your selenium, your boron. This is rocket fuel in the absolute best way, because you need all these things for yourself already.
And the best part about this is the single ingredients are super important.
Nothing's hidden here.
Yeah, it's like nothing's hidden, and there's like no like catch to this stuff. These are things that like your body naturally needs, and they've been around for a very long time.
Right. You say take all the things, but buying it from sponsors be expensive. We are the sponsor. So like this is us. And here's the thing. For this, show me where you're buying all these separately for a better price. We'll get you a discount code. I don't believe it.
I'm going to pull up the discount code.
Yeah, and you guys can use code CORE25 to get an additional 25% off. And I think you get even more when you subscribe. We want you to subscribe. Try it out for a few months. We guarantee you're going to see some measure of positive increase in some holistic form. I really do believe that. When we take these products, you'll feel it.
Yes.
So especially the ashwagandha. Let me explain. Ashwagandha, what it does, so cholesterol is your master base for making all hormones throughout the body. And cortisol, the stress hormone, the hormone that peaks in the morning, the hormone that makes you feel stressed out, makes you gain fat, makes you lose muscle, it gets created by the cholesterol. What does ashwagandha do? It tilts kind of the pipe, taking the cholesterol to make cortisol. It tilts it towards making testosterone, or if you're a woman, positive sex hormones that make you feel better. And that's verifiable. Just look at the studies. Everything I said is 100% accurate. So when you take the Elemental Drive and the Ultimate Ashwagandha, you're getting something, especially if you're a guy, that's going to make you feel more positive, lower your cortisol, lower your stress, increase your testosterone. Then you take the Elemental Drive, which is basically just like, think about it like this. Elemental Drive is like gasoline, and then Ultimate Ashwagandha is like engine oil lubricant. All right? That's how you got to think of it. And together, it's a total system to help you drive.
It's actually not $40 per month. If you subscribe, he's saying per month. If you subscribe, you're literally getting 30%
Yeah,
off.
if you subscribe, you get 30%
So zoom in
off.
on that.
Yeah, you get 30% off.
You're
if you
paying like
subscribe.
about $27 a month.
And the thing is, we appreciate donations. And if you're on YouTube or Rumble or on the link, you can donate. The thing is, we want to give you guys something that's going to improve your life.
Yeah.
And like here's the thing, people talk about price. These are 20 teens prices. I've been selling supplements for decades, okay? I talked to people, I was at the farmer's market, Tim. I was talking to people, they're like, well, I want to get your mushroom supplements. Way too expensive what I'm paying right now. I'm paying $120 a month. And I'm like, what are you buying? And they're like, well, it's a blend. I don't know. And I'm like, you've been robbed. Please let us help you.
I've also been seeing the supplements that some of these other creators are buying, and it's like the starting price for some of these things are like $90.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's because here's the thing. They don't feel bad about ripping people off because they don't know they're ripping people off. But because we have a knowledge of the industry and because we manufacture these things ourselves, ship them ourselves, all of it, we're aware of just how important, how hard, how painstaking the process of bringing a formula to market has to be. And that's why we got the absolute best at GoPrimalCore.com. That's code CORE25. Get yourself the discount. Subscribe and save. Get 30% off. That is a phenomenal deal, guys. It really, really, truly is.
We've got several people that are subscribed.
Yes.
So, and they're loving it. I haven't heard any complaints at all.
Awesome.
Only good things. So
awesome.
We appreciate you guys. The next time you will see me is on Tuesday. Okay.
Is it raining?
Is it? Dang.
Sounds like it's pouring.
I hate it. All right. Next time you guys will see me is on Tuesday. I'll start be doing Tuesdays with Tim on American Journal with Rex.
American Journal, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., 5 days a week. Tuesday, we're going to be doing another gray area show that's going to be live here, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. However, that's going to be a 2-hour. All right. And then we're going to take calls.
Yeah.
So we're going to call in show for
I miss talking to you guys, and we got a bunch of new people.
Sure.
Yeah, I got to figure out how to take calls on this EV Mux because that's the only reason why we
can use StreamYard temporarily.
Yeah,
while we figure it out. That's what I've been using. But thank you all for being here
guys.
tonight. We love you. Thank you, King West, for keeping it real as well.
Damon, we still see you in the chat. We still love you, man. I know you're working these days, but
Roll Tide.
We appreciate you guys. Peace out.
Peace out.
Modern life